Hello everyone, my name is Speedy, welcome to NotSoSpeedRuns, and we are here with Blades in the Dark 6 and 20. I am joined by my wonderful cast and crew once again. Also, I want to start off this episode by talking a little bit about what we're doing here today. At the bottom of the screen, you can see a little bit of a thing right there. There's a little bit of a bar of some kind. Right now, we are raising money for Owlbare, who's the player, who's sitting right above that bar. He's been going through some tough times lately, and he's got some medical bills to pay and things like that. And we look out for our own here, and so we're trying to help him out right now. So if you guys have any money to donate, you can see the list of donation effects below the stream. It's $2, or actually $1 now for an advantage or disadvantage to a player, $5 for a crit, and $10 add an NPC. $50 you can impact the game in pretty much any way you want, with the discretion of the DM.
I'm muted. I can't. I was going to say something, but I'm muted. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so if you guys would like to impact the game in any way and impact Owlbare's life in a positive way, help out Joff. He could use it, and we love him. He deserves everything. If you guys have seen all of the fantastic graphics we've been putting out for the game, all the character art and everything, that has all been him. So show him some love. The donation link is the same as usual, but I will be putting it all into the link for his GoFundMe. So yeah, show some love. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get down to business. Let's go ahead and go around to our cast and say a little bit about who you are and who you're playing today. Let's start all the way on the right with Trendane.
Oh, okay, fine. Well, as he said, my name is Trendane. I'm a professional voice actor person, and I would like to state that I've made a mistake in my shopping protocols, and once I finish this, I too, in real life, will be out of tea. So,
not the tea. Where's Moon when you need him?
Anyway, so yeah, I'm playing a Whisper named Hocus, who is a member of the Couriers Guild. So he's all over the place, but he's apparently not a very good Whisper, because he's terrified of everything. So yeah, lots of fun with that, and I guess we could should we drop it down?
Which I believe makes it...
Yes, that would be you, MadameGandalf. Tell us about who you are playing.
My name is MadameGandalf, and I play Ari. She is a fun-loving master manipulator and spy, or a slide, as the class is in Blades in the Dark. And she's a girl who just likes to live a little bit on the edge and just have some fun. And right now, it's here with these guys.
Awesome, yeah, your character's fantastic. Let's move on down in the circular way over to Owlbare. Tell us about Grin and you.
A quick little bit about me. Most of you folks might know me from Twitter. I'm pretty new to Twitch, and I'm going to continue exploring that. That's a conversation for another time. I am going to say a big thank you to you, Speedy, and to Mike from the other stream, and all of you actually, Johnny, Trendane, Louise, and MadameGandalf, and everyone that's really rallied to my aid. And I'm not going to cry. That comes later. And I just want to say thank you. And while I have the opportunity, and I know she's in chat, I just want to give a shout out to I Lived in a Cake, Leslie. Thank you so much for creating the GoFundMe. I love you very much. And tonight, I will be playing Grin, who is a cutter. He likes to wield his sword, and it's seen a lot of use. He's a 25-year veteran of the Scotland Imperial Unity War. Came to Doskvol a few years back to try and ply his trade as a smuggler. And for the purpose of this series, he's in contract with Sky, pretty much at his... I'm pretty much his puppy. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll be touching on that tonight. That's me. Thank you. I waffled.
You didn't waffle. You're great. You're wonderful.
I concur.
And yeah, absolutely. You don't need to thank us. We look out for our own. You know, you've been a tremendous help to us on the stream, and so we would hate to see you have to struggle with anything more than you have to. So we'll look out for you, man.
What's with the invisible hamburger?
I know. No.
It's a John Belushi.
We're just hungry, okay? We all usually forget to eat before we start this.
Or in general.
Some in general, yes. And on that note, let's go to Louise.
Hello, everybody. I am Louise. I'm happy to be here as always. Great times all around. Especially great times today because my wonderful, wonderful character, the 17-year-old, ridiculously idiotic, kind of crazy woman, girl child, has some drugs, and life is good for her, and life is good for me. Things are great on this corner. Thanks, Speedy.
Wonderful. That is fantastic. You've been doing or you've been looking for a lot of drugs lately.
Yes.
It's been exciting. And me, I am Speedy. I am the host of the show. This is my channel, and I am playing Sky, who is a spider is the class, basically a criminal mastermind for our wonderful crew of smugglers who we call Phantom. And Sky is a vicious man who's been making ghost contracts with all of his employees, basically binding them to do his will, or else they will be cursed to extreme pain and suffering for all eternity, more or less. And so he's a dark and vicious and mysterious man with some nefarious goals in mind. And with that, I'll turn things over to our wonderful DM, VideoStoreCowboy. For those of you who don't know, this game is being run on 2 channels right now. It's being run on my channel and Unmade Gaming's, both of them happening in the same world. VideoStoreCowboy is the DM on both of those shows, so that we are in the same world and he is controlling everything, or as much as he can. No.
I'm not controlling anything. You guys present the you guys present the circumstances. I just give you opportunities to screw it up. Well, I just want to say before we get started, again, I want to thank everybody who has donated for Joff's GoFundMe so far. It's a great cause. We love having him. He's done phenomenal work for us, just in creating some fan art, or it's character art for us. And you've seen that all over Twitter and stuff. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you to the viewers from last night. Thank you to everybody who donated, and thank you, moving forward for anybody else who participates. It's an amazing thing. Okay, so let's get started. You guys ended last week with a score. You guys had finished your score, and so we're going to move into downtime. And to recap what the score was, we're going to talk a little bit about the score itself, which was essentially you were hijacking a set of cargo for the Red Sashes in order to establish a relationship with the Red Sashes. And you did this by stealing the job, essentially, the score, taking essentially the score plans from the Foghounds, and just kind of capturing it before they could capture it on their route, and then rerouted it so that it goes to a Red Sash's warehouse. Now, the circumstances with which you got that score information came from the first score that you guys did, where it was Moon and Grin who had wandered into a room where there was a bunch of information, a bunch of notes, and quite a large map of Doskvol. And Moon, having a lot of foresight, just kind of piled all the notes and everything else that was kind of scattered all over the table and just kind of put them all into a satchel and got out. Well, he didn't actually make it out with the contents. Grin did. He did a bunch of compiling of information, and basically this was the first thing of value that came out of all of that information. That was the notes from the fog count. So you guys have now successfully done a second score and are moving into downtime. Does anybody have any questions or want to do anything before we actually get started with that? Was there anything left over hanging from the score that we wanted to talk about?
Other than drugs.
Other than the drugs.
Other than drugs?
Downtown.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So let's talk about the amount of coin earned. We'll start there. So there are 4 phases to downtime: payoff, determining heat, determining any entanglements that you guys run into, and then we actually get into downtime activities. So for payoff, this seemed like a pretty big score for you guys, even though it was quite easy. You took 3 carts full of essentially food goods, supplies, and rerouted them from the Foghounds to the Red Sashes quite easily. So that's a pretty sizable score there. So that team seems to me, unless anybody has any arguments, that seems to be what would be rated as a standard score, which is 6 coin. So 6 coin initially to the crew. Then we also need to talk about the rep that comes from that. So crew rep by default is 2. You essentially robbed or you circumvented another faction it was a tier 1 faction, and the Phantom is a tier 0. So that means you guys get an additional rep for taking on a higher faction. So that's 3 reps so far. And I don't think there's anything else that really helps. Yeah, the operation was not completely quiet. So yeah. So you're going to earn 3 rep from this particular score as well. So that's 3 rep to the crew character sheet and 6 coin. Whether you guys put it on the crew character sheet or you divvy it up, that's a conversation to be had separately. All right. So let's talk about heat. Metagame wise, if anybody watched last night's episode, there were rumors floating around about the circumstances of the score actually happening. Nothing was identified, nothing was tied to Phantom, just that there was a score that was taken away from the Foghounds. So that's the circumstance of the first point of heat that you guys are going to earn, is that because the Foghounds were expecting to take this score and it didn't happen, it definitely affected their desire to kind of figure out what's going on. So they started spreading information about the fact that there was a score that had gone south for them. Remember, they are looking for patrons. They have connections with a couple of different factions who they're trying to build relationships with. So that's going to generate you guys at least 1 heat. Otherwise, it went smooth and quietly. So there was really no exposure whatsoever. To me, that says that it's also 0 heat for just the general tone of the score or what have you. There was no killing involved. It did happen on hostile turf, but you guys were so quiet about it that I'm going to say that it's still just 1 heat that you earned altogether for that. So quite a good job, guys.
Yeah.
Booyah.
Yeah, that was a very, very quiet, very stealthy, very Phantom-like job.
It
real
was.
quick, did you say how much rep and coin was that?
So that was 3 rep. So two for the standard, plus the fact that you attacked or you took on you took a score from a higher level faction, so a higher tier faction. Foghounds being a tier 1 faction, and then coin was 6.
Okay, so 6 coin,
because it's
3 rep.
Yeah, so 6 because it's essentially a standard job.
Okay, with that, we are now a tier 1 crew, I believe. We were at 4 rep before, so now... Yeah.
Moving on up,
How's
boys.
that? Is that how that works?
So let's get. Actually, no. This is actually the right place to do that. Give me just a second while I bring up the crew
While he's
advancement,
doing
crew
that,
upgrades.
All saying moving on up to the east side because we're in Night Watch, which is on the east side, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's true.
the
We can go ahead and
supply.
just sing that all day long.
Stop it!
Right.
Stop it! You two! Stop it! Stop it! You guys are terrible. Stop it!
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I said.
So crew specific triggers can blah 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 blah. All right. When you fill your crew advancement tracker and you filled it, correct?
Yeah, it goes up to 5 rep is the total. Or 6
Clears
rep,
the
sorry.
marker. Clears the marker and goes. Okay. So let me look at your crew sheet real quick. We pulled up on my side. Let me see what it says here. So it looks like Phantom has 4 rep right now. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah.
So no, you need to go all the way to 10.
4 was what we had already.
4 is what you had already. So you got another 3. So that's 7.
Okay, I thought turf was something different. It was like going backwards.
Turf is something different. Okay, if you look at the crew sheet itself, and you see the layer at its center, and then there's all the different things that you can acquire, the different assets or what have you that you can acquire to go along with that. You can get a spot of turf, and what that does is it reduces the amount of XP or the amount of rep that you have to earn moving forward.
Okay.
So here, let me see if I can find the listing for it real quick. That'll help explain it. Turf is marked on your rep tracker sheet. Each piece of turf you hold reduces the amount of rep cost to develop by 1. So if you have 2 turf, you need 10 rep to develop. If you have 4 turf, you only need 8 rep to develop. You can hold a maximum of 6 turf. When you develop and reset your rep, you keep the marks from the turf that you hold. So you can grab all of those slots of turf, and all you would have advanced now. But you have to fill it. So if you click where it says the gray area. See how it just changed? Did it change on your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so that black indicates that you now only would need 11 versus 12, kind of a thing. And you click on it via the gray area.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
So I was actually really excited for you because you were going to move up, and it opens a whole bunch of opportunities for me to kind of throw more stuff at you. But for right now, yeah. So you guys are at 7 rep.
Okay, so got it.
So in order to go after some of these things that are on here, you would target that as your score. Like you would intentionally say, okay, guys, let's go acquire some new turf so we can start to kind of block some of these things out, and we're going to go, and that leads into the larger crew advancement, all the additional things that you can do. So, for example, you've got 4 things connected initially to the layer, which is turf, luxury fence, turf, and fleet. You don't have to go in that order, but it makes it easier if you go along those paths. Okay, so back to downtime. So we've gone through payoff. You guys have received 6 coin, and you received 3 reputation. We did heat, which is 1. You only acquired 1 piece of heat for your last roll. So that's actually that score. That's really good. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to roll for entanglements to see if you guys run into anything or what you actually run into. So I'm going to roll. Your wanted level is 0. So with a wanted level of 0. I think last week I just rolled 1 die and took the value of the die. I did that incorrectly. What you do is when you have a wanted level of 0, you roll 2 dice and take the lower of the 2. So instead of it being like the higher being the value that we take the lower. So I'm going to roll 2d6 and grab the lower value. Ooh. Okay. So, rivals or unquiet dead is the entanglement that you have run into. I'm going to give you guys a choice, like I did last week, as to which one you want to happen. And then we can talk about whether you guys want to deal with it right now or if you want it to come up during the game. So rivals are a neutral faction throws their weight around. They threaten you, a friend, or a contact, or one of your vice purveyors. You would forfeit 1 coin or 1 rep per tier of the rival, or stand up to them and lose 1 status with their faction. That is rivals. Unquiet Dead. A rogue spirit is drawn to you. Perhaps it's a past victim. Acquire the services of a whisper or railjack to attempt to destroy or banish it, or deal with it yourself.
Oh.
What do you guys think?
So the first thing I thought of when we said maybe a past victim, I was like, "Ooh, Moon. He's executing this."
That's the first thing that came to my mind as well.
Yeah.
I watched Trendane kind of get a little quiet there as he contemplated the fact of Hocus having to deal with that.
That was, but it also ties into what I had set up for downtime. So,
Why don't my vote is for Unquiet Dead.
I'll put my little ballot box in. The dead. Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah, let's go for it. Why not?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Is this the kind of thing that you want to deal with right now, or do you want to deal with it throughout downtime or possibly in free play?
Well, let's let Hocus decide that.
I think that dealing with it as we pass from downtime into free play.
Okay, that sounds great.
Because what I'll do is I'll just reserve my downtime to be the last one, and since mine involves everyone, just deal with everybody else's downtime now.
Cool.
And then once we finish my element of downtime, then we jump right into free play, and this can trigger at that point.
Okay, that's awesome. Let's totally do that. Okay, so now we're moving into the 4th phase of downtime, which is downtime actions. Downtime actions, again, we've done this already once, but just kind of a quick refresh. You get 2 free downtime actions to either, say, indulge your vice, work on a long-term project, recover from physical harm, reduce heat on the crew. You can train one of your attributes, or you can acquire an asset. Is there anybody who's pressing to go first? I know that Hocus is going to go last in this particular case. So unless there's somebody who wants to we can go in order. We'll just start with Speedy.
It sounds good to me. If anyone else has anything.
Okay.
I'd first like to continue working on my long-term project of investigating the Dimmer sisters.
Okay. I'm going to move. I believe it's this one.
Yes. And
I'm going to move I'm sorry, go ahead.
The way I want to go about it is, I believe some of the information I received last time was that the Red Sashes were one of many organizations that were looking at the trading of slaves or the importing of people. And we've just done a deal with them. We've scored a good deal of provisions for their war. I'd like to try and press them for some information in exchange for what we've done.
Real quick, just for clarification, because I remember last time that we were talking about something. I couldn't remember which faction it was that, Johnny, you had said that while they do it, it is not their primary thing. Was that the Red Sashes, that they do traffic somewhat in human trafficking, but that it's not a big part of what they do? Is that,
that is correct.
Correct? Okay.
I believe that was them. I know that. So let's go back over just for clarification purposes. If you look at the screen, there's the progress clock for the Dimmer child, and the investigation basically is you digging into the whereabouts or the existence of the child that you had worked for, in your previous crew and the previous score when we did the one shot. And you had acquired a child for the Dimmer sisters from the Circle of Flame, and had wanted to find more information about that. And so the bits of information, as I recall them and looking at my notes, you found out that the Red Sashes do not traffic in children, or do not do human trafficking or slavery for the most part. That the Dimmer sisters were very interested in this particular whatever this child does or has, and that was why they were trying to acquire her, and it was because of what she could do, and that the hive, if I remember correctly, it was the hive that was trying to acquire this particular child for a very different reason, along the same lines, but it was more about the bloodline, or it was more about the family.
And they were not from Doskvol.
And they were not from Doskvol, and there was, I believe, a couple of children involved.
It was the Circle of Flame who we took the girl from, though, right?
Yeah, so the Circle of Flame had employed the Grey Cloaks to hold on to her, but it was the Circle of Flame that was actually the pulling the strings in that particular score.
Okay, yeah, so a lot of factions involved wanting this girl. And so, from what I found out about the Red Sashes, were they involved at all? Did they have any interest in this girl, or were they just one of a few people who dealt with importing of?
They deal in snatch and grab jobs. So
Okay.
their specialty involves grabbing specific people or doing kidnaps, not human trafficking necessarily. They don't.
Okay.
That's not part of their normal business operation.
Okay. Either way, they have some sort of information. They have contacts at the very least who would have heard more about where this girl came from, and possibly through them could know why she was so important, more so, and what the Dimmer sisters' intentions could be.
Okay.
Correct?
That's one way to approach it. Sure. The questions that come to mind immediately as you're trying to identify more information about this are, who are you approaching in the Red Sashes that might have this information? I mean, just give me a general idea of type of person. Is this the kind of thing where you want to talk to somebody who might be a whisperer or might be connected to a whisperer for the Red Sashes, or is this more of a thing where you just want to talk logistics about jobs?
I think I would probably want to talk to someone who's more connected with the jobs. I think that's more where I'm looking at this point.
Okay.
Because as far as I know, the Red Sashes don't have any connection to the supernatural part of this. It's more about the job of stealing.
Okay. Let me pull up Sky's character sheet real quick.
While you're doing that, Sky, do you happen to remember what nationality the girl was? Where she was from?
I do not.
Okay.
It was not declared, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
We did see her, so we would know at least what skin color she had.
She was very pale. She was blonde.
So not Eruvian. Okay.
No, not Eruvian. She may be Skovlin.
Yeah, Skovlin would be the most likely from that, I would say. I think. Based on what I know for.
Yeah. I mean, that's one possibility. Grin would probably be able to tell you, a little bit more about her lineage if she was Skovlin. So, but he's not seen her.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk to me about how you're going to approach this person. I mean, you've essentially begun a relationship with the Red Sashes and successfully, began an acquaintance, a relationship, an acquaintance. It's a starting point. So how would you approach having this conversation with somebody who is, essentially in charge of logistics, or one of the people in charge of logistics and, jobs in the...
I would say I would probably send a courier at first, just to say I would like to have a meeting with one of your people to discuss payment of some sort for our job, and to further continue our relationship.
Okay. Would you be sending Hocus to do that?
Yeah, probably. Well, actually, I would probably ask Hocus for one of a different courier because he delivered it last time, and I don't want anyone thinking that he actually works for me.
Okay, so it wouldn't be out of the ordinary, at least in my head, to have a favorite courier. But you being a spider, that makes sense that you would not necessarily want anything that they can latch onto and identify to have information about you. So, all right. So, let's see. How do I want to do this? Okay. So you send a letter via courier, and because this is downtime, I'm just going to say it's like, again, we're dealing with the looseness of time and at this point where things can happen sort of parallel to each other, but also will take a little bit of time. Given the circumstance that the letter goes out, it takes about a day. You get a response back with a very curt reply that says, "Coin has been paid, but am willing to talk about other possibilities."
Okay. Did they give like a place and time to meet?
They did give you a place and time. In fact, they want you to meet at the Vale tonight at the hour of 1.
The Vale. Okay. Interesting. I will go.
Okay. So you come into the Vale. It's the hour of 1 is pretty much in the middle of the night, so it's kind of still a lively time. People are still just winding down from the day and doing whatever their vice activity, gambling, indulging in pleasure, drinking, food, other types of activities, and the Vale being the kind of place where, things are quite lively, 24/7. You don't see anything really different about this, but you meet you come to the appropriate table and you sit down at the appropriate time, and you are introduced to by your contact, who you were asked to another person by the name of Felix. And Felix introduces himself, won't shake your hand, but looks at you and says, "Well, what can I do for you?"
Well, seeing as we've just been in a relationship, I think I'd like to open up a line of communication with you. There's some information that I happen to be after right now, and well, you seem like you might have something to provide. I'm interested in a girl, a specific girl. I'm wondering what you might have heard about some foreign youngling who's been transported about the city as of late.
We don't traffic in children.
Well, I can certainly appreciate your upstandingness or something like that, but I'm not interested in purchasing, I assure you. There are a few different factions who seem to have had an interest in this girl, and I'm curious as to why. I know that you may not deal in children exactly, but there are people who you deal with, people who may have dealt with her.
What is your interest in this child?
I would prefer not to disclose my intentions. I assure you it is in no way intending to harm her. But there are certain people who I would like to keep her away from, if you will. There's certain things that she knows that perhaps would be dangerous if they got out.
When you say dangerous, he kind of looks at you with an intensity that it surprises you, because you're talking about children, and that's not what he suspected, or that's not what he was expecting. You can read that on his face. He's not a good poker player. He's very obvious about what he says and what, how he reacts to things. And he responds after taking a sip of his drink, "How do children present danger?"
Well, you've seen some of these, how some of these crews tend to operate. Can be dangerous. Some of them think that children are just tools, that they can be used to get into places that other people can't. Sometimes they use them as spies. They like to have them hear things. You understand?
I do.
Not many people suspect the child, as it seems you don't suspect the child either.
But you said danger.
Knowledge is a dangerous thing in the wrong hands.
He says, with a bit of hesitation at first, "We don't deal with these type of things. But should you want to know more, we know that children pass through the night on the canals when they are being dealt with. Maybe you want to speak to the gondoliers."
I appreciate your compliance, and I hope that we can do more business in the future.
You misunderstand. I have given you a piece of information. Now you must give me a piece of information.
What is it that you want to know?
Tell me more about your interest in the Foghounds.
Well, you're a smart man. You know we're in the same business as the Foghounds. Competition's competition. We'd rather be the only supplier in town if we can, or at least not have them meddling in the work that we do.
He shakes his head, looks thoughtfully over at one of his companions, and turns to you again and says, "Well, when you're ready for another stab at them, come see us." He bows his head, he stands up, and they walk out.
Excellent.
So we can treat that as one pip, or you can continue to explore with some kind of a roll because of the mention of the faction, the gondoliers.
I'd like to continue with a roll if I could.
Okay. How do you want to approaching the gondoliers, or acquiring an in with the gondoliers?
Do I know of what factions they are allied with?
No. So as a smuggler, you would have some insight into them, and let me take a step back for a second and ask you a question about Phantom, the crew. Where is your primary interest lie? Is it goods across land? Is it goods within the city? Or is it goods that come in by sea? Because those are three distinctly different types of smuggling in the business,
or by rail.
Well, by land is what I meant. By rail. So it would be the rail, everything coming from the rail yards through Night Market, because Night Market also serves in the same fashion as the docks a little bit. That there are warehouses on the side that connect to the rail the rail station.
Right. I apologize. I forgot that rails were on the ground. So I honestly forgot that.
No problem.
It's hard, Sometimes monorails can be raised or something.
Yeah.
Technically, these ones do go across the sea, I believe. So, but I would say that we probably deal mostly with transporting goods around the city. I don't know that we really track like docking shipments like the Foghounds do so much. We'd be more dealing with like once it's already here, we get it to the dealers.
Okay, fantastic. So you would know a bit about the gondoliers in that they by legitimate trade not only move goods but they move people around very quickly between districts. When somebody, when something needs to be transported from, say, like Night Market all the way to Silk Shore or White Crown, right? Those are the types of things where it makes a lot more sense because they can move much more swiftly through the canals because the canals are going to be less clogged than the city streets. Cabbies are more about moving, from one district to the other, and that type of, a circumstance where crossing a bridge is relatively a straightforward shot. You would know also that surprisingly, he recommended the gondoliers because there is some level of antagonism between the gondoliers and the Red Sashes at this point. Specifically because the Red Sashes are trying to control parts of the canals that are right next to their territory in Crowsfoot.
Got it. Okay, so name-dropping Red Sashes, bad idea.
So Grin name-dropping Red Sashes is a bad idea. The fact that he shared, somebody from the Red Sashes shared with you showed the amount of respect that they have for your question.
Oh.
Well, you just did them a job, so they're giving you a little bit of a a courtesy. So, the question comes back: how do you want to approach this?
You know what? I think this is probably a separate downtime action.
Okay.
And I will say that I will save it for next time for now.
All right. So the information that you got about the gondoliers, though, I'm going to call that a pip on the Dimmer Sister or the Dimmer Child project. So we're just going to advance that one. What do you want to do with your second downtime?
I'll train.
Okay. What are you going to train?
I'm going to train my resolve.
Okay. And how do you train your resolve? Just out of curiosity. Like, what do you are you doing mental exercises?
In terms of, I think that conversation with the Red Sashes is probably a part of it. Where I've just made a new contact. I'm trying to work on how to present myself to new potential business partners and stuff like that. So, okay,
all right, cool. We'll call that as your second downtime activity. Do you want to push yourself or spend any coin or rep for? Sorry, you don't not push yourself. Do you want to spend any coin or rep for an additional downtime action?
No.
Okay. All right. Who wants to go next?
I can.
All right, Sling. What are you doing?
Well, glad you asked. I have drugs, and that's fun. But
but damn it. Should have dealt with this in before free time.
And remember, kids, drugs are fun.
I have actually only very recently had some because I had some last time as well. So I feel like I'm okay right now. So we'll maybe come back to these drugs in the near future. Right now, very pressing on Brynn's mind is the long-term goal that she's had set up, trying to find out about her friends, actually, well, sort of friends that she left behind. And would it be okay if I delved further into that situation?
Sure. Last time you spoke with a contact, I believe, who works for the railway.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want to proceed this time? And to kind of refresh refresh both our minds about what it is that you were inquiring in the past. You were inquiring about the past, the group of kids, teenagers that you were running around with in your hometown, and then you had to leave in a sudden situation, and now you wanted to find out some information about.
Correct. Yeah.
You wanted to find and what you found out was that the one person that you had talked about, I don't remember the character's name. It's in my notes somewhere. I'm sorry, what?
Loman.
That Loman is alive, and that he is one of a number of gangs that are trying to move in, these new faction type crews that are trying to move in and take the railway in your city as a part of their territory or turf, and that they're incredibly brutal, and that he's in charge of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with that in mind, how do you want to try to acquire more information?
Well, I also found out, if I remember, that their level of brutality is like gotten to the point where it's being talked about even here.
Right, exactly. That's how you found out.
So what I'd like to do, would it be possible if I could locate or speak to a member of the Lost in Coleridge, who are the group of like street toughs and ex-soldiers dedicated to protecting the downtrodden and the hopeless?
Okay. And you want to find somebody in Coleridge who of that loose affiliation, because the Lost are essentially a loose affiliation of street thugs and villains who work together but aren't necessarily considered a crew or a faction in the most organized sense. It's more about that they're a mass or a mob kind of a situation. So who are you specifically, like, type wise, who are you trying to get in contact with of the Lost?
Somebody, not necessarily somebody that is a kind of like a leader there, but somebody that, because the way I've looked at the Lost are kind of people who have done bad things in their past and are trying now to atone for them with each deed that they do. Kind of try and find somebody who's been about this for a while.
Okay. All right. So, so basically someone who's a lot like Grin.
Yeah. I want to find the Grin of the Lost.
Okay. So why not have a conversation with Grin? Because Grin is exactly that description. He's an ex-soldier. He's somebody running around. He's shown all of that in the past. And so I'm going to let you guys have a little interaction there or have an exchange, and then I will provide details in that.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Amazing. Fantastic. And there will be a future part where I do want to speak to the Lost about a separate issue, but we can come back to that at another time.
We can totally come. We can even do that. If it's related, if you, for some reason, you think it's related to the conversation that you're about to have or the information that we dropped, then yes. Otherwise, it'll count as a separate downtown action at some point.
It'll be it's a separate one. It's not related to this thing.
Great.
Okay, so it's exciting. Yay! So would we be back at Donovan's? Is that the name?
It can be wherever you want. I mean, it could be at the Vale. It could be at the Devil's Tooth. I think is also another place in Doskvol. There's the Red Lamp, and
yeah.
Where would Brynn be?
I would be at the Devil's Tooth. I'm there quite a lot because I know the I know the owner and I know many other patrons. So that's where I hang out. So why don't we go there, Sling?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Is that the tavern?
Yes.
It's not the main place where everybody goes in the night market. It's more of a not a seedy but more of a comfy kind of a homey tavern kind of a situation. It's not a big place, not a big.
Then yes, please. If I may.
Okay.
If I may. I'd like to join as well.
Oh.
Interesting.
Oh, look at it.
Sorry,
There's all friends together.
Okay.
Practically.
So
What good is being part of a crew if we don't have a chance to get to know each other, right?
I don't know if I like these people going off without me.
Oh, look at Johnny. Johnny's having conniptions.
No, I'm not having conniptions. I'm actually just trying to set the scene up so that this actually begins to kind of flow into. I imagine that Grin sits somewhere in a corner inside of the Devil's Tooth with a pitcher.
I actually have a private room because the madam of the place actually has several private rooms. I tend to reserve one, and we'll take that because there's only one entrance. I can watch the door. I know where the spy holes are. I like having a bit of privacy.
Do you have a reputation for being there? Would it be obvious this would be one of the places that somebody would come looking for Grin?
Yeah. Okay.
So
people that would want to hire Grin, this is where they would come. This is his haunt.
So based on the experience that Sling has had with Grin, having worked 2 scores with him and had a little bit of downtime with him, so a couple of weeks, you would know that this is Grin's regular hangout, so you know where you would know to approach him here. Or So I'm just going to say that you and Ari, how are you connected with this? Are you taking an interest in Grin, or are you taking an interest in Sling? How are you connected to this conversation? What's your in this conversation?
Well, one of my contacts is actually Clyra, a tavern owner. It's very vague as to which tavern that is, so I could possibly say maybe this probably isn't the tavern. No, because Grin just said that this was owned by somebody else. Was that correct?
Yeah, I was just looking it up. Technically, this is run by Mistress Kemba.
Mistress Kemba. Okay, so I think I'm probably going to be following. Probably going to be following Sling.
Okay.
Hello, that's me.
As Sling marches through the streets of Night Market.
Okay, Sling, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ari? Oh no, Ari is very intrigued by Sling. She's never come across anybody quite like her. And if there's one thing that Ari appreciates is something that's very rare and special in that value. So she's going to be very intrigued as to where someone like Sling might peruse the night.
Okay, so I think how we're gonna do this is Sling is determined to find Grin and have a conversation because of his vague connections potentially to the lost. Mm-hmm. You make your way into the Devil's Tooth, and just as you're entering, you notice out of the corner of your eye that Ari is kind of just sauntering along, kind of, looks like she's following you, but she's not making it too obvious, but she's also not making it really hard for you to notice. I mean, that's the interpretation I get of Ari and how she approaches the situation.
Yeah, when it comes to somebody that she knows, she wants Sling to know that she's there, but she also wants to remain incognito at the same time.
You'll see her in the corner of the vision, just a very long, drawn out sigh of just like, sure, okay.
And I'm assuming that you would invite her, and then you both find your way back to Grin's private room. Mm-hmm. Okay, you enter the door. You reluctantly, right? Reluctantly, you allow Ari to come with you, but you enter the private room's door, and you find Grin hovering over a pitcher of whatever he's drinking.
I like Boilermakers, so I've got my lager and I have my whiskey, and I'm a couple pitchers in, and I scowl at the two of you.
I smile back.
Isn't this cozy? Isn't this quaint?
Well, this is interesting. Why don't you just pull up chairs and close the door?
Oh, well, thank you. And I do exactly as he just mentioned.
Another very long, drawn out. Oh, God.
What can I do you both for?
I'll have a pint, please. Maybe 3.
That is absolutely not what I meant.
Oh.
But, and I shake the mostly empty pitcher and then just sort of push it forward.
Thank you kindly. Cheers. Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, cheers. Of course.
So, what dastardly conversations are we going to have?
Nothing dastardly of the sort, I'm afraid. I know how much you'd love if I would come here with some scandalous news story that you'd just love to tell your little girlfriends out there. But this ain't that, I'm afraid.
Oh, not many of the girlfriends. They don't tend to take too much of a liking to someone like me. I wonder why.
Well, I am very sorry that you don't have friends. Anyway, Brynn, we need to talk.
You're right, Sling. You look a little peaky.
Just, it's been a day.
Hmm.
Sure you can understand.
What's
Now
up?
listen. I heard down on the streets that you know some people, and I need just a bit of information. Nothing scandalous, nothing that'll get you in any trouble. I just need to know about something.
Okay. What do you need?
Well, as you can probably tell, I'm not from round these parts, and she'll gesture to the very black, prominent veins that snake along her skin.
I suspected, yeah.
Yeah, no, some people just don't quite grasp it at first. So I thought maybe I'd just, give a little hint. I'm not a local girl, see.
Is anybody in this town?
Got yourself a point there. Either way.
There's a few locals. I like to call them marks.
Either way, where I am from, I had a couple of friends, people that I trusted, and I just really need to know how they are. Now, see, I also heard that things ain't going quite too well back home. That there's these crazy gangs that are rising up and trying to take control. And see, if I ever want to move back home, that's going to be a problem for me. I wanted to know if you knew anything.
Huh. Rumors, conjecture. Johnny, how much would Grin know? I mean,
So this is generally this is a situation where Grin would definitely have a lot more information about it, given the circumstances of his work in the past, and his connections with people on the street.
right.
What you would know, generally speaking, is that there are some rumors that a mercenary force is being put together to be sent back to her hometown to deal with these local gangs that are kind of rising up, because the local interests are soliciting for outside talent.
This mercenary force, it's being put together by the Imperials?
No, it is not being put together by the Imperials. The Imperials have their own military force.
Right.
So this is something more organized by the local businessmen, the local factions, because they are having trouble maintaining order.
Oh, interesting. So it's one thing that many of the factions are actually working together on.
You can only assume that with the amount of coin that's being discussed and the size of the mercenary force that's being organized to take back on the rail, that is the case.
Okay. Excuse me. And I relay that to Sling.
God damn it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there's trouble brewing. It's coming. A lot of money behind this. There's a lot of names behind this. Your homeland's not looking to have a fun time.
When's it ever?
Now, you mentioned you're looking for a couple people?
Yeah, just friends that were back home. Nothing important. Just worried for them, I guess.
I can poke around, but I'm no whisper. I'm not clairvoyant. You're going to have to give me names, descriptions. Now or later is fine. but you get me a list, and I'll pull a couple favors, and I can look into it.
I'll get
very-
back to you on. But
Very
thanks.
very cloak and dagger, Sling. I'm really proud of you.
Cheers.
Ari, why are you here?
I'd like to know the same thing.
Oh, I was bored. I just wanted to go somewhere to have a drink, and you guys were heading somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Besides,
Okay, great.
You're an interesting one.
am I? Am I really?
You make Sky nervous.
That's a
I
good
make
thing.
most people nervous. But it is good to see someone like Sky squirm. Gotta
Yeah.
love
I can
that
attest to that.
alliteration.
Cheers to that. Underage
Cheers.
drinking.
Glub, 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 glub.
I don't know what the legal drinking age is in Doskvol, but I'm pretty sure this.
7.
It's 7, yeah.
There really isn't a drinking age because it's pretty much considered that the table wine is going to keep you from dying. Remember,
Not to
Possibly
drink.
keep everybody dulled enough to just stay somewhat happy in
If
this.
you're
shit
holding
bag
There's
of
that.
a-
a glass to your mouth, you can drink.
there is that too.
Can you hold a sippy cup? Then you can drink.
Okay, so Sling, from that information, you find out that the struggle is happening enough that it is that there are open inquiries for mercenaries to organize to go back to your home city and deal with the circumstances of this potential conflict. From that, you can either take 1 pip on your progress, or you can do a roll of some kind, and we can figure out what other information that Joff can provide Grin can provide for you / anybody else that he might be connected with.
Let's do a roll.
Yay!
Yay! All right. All right. Circumstances of this are. This will be essentially your role for the information that he can provide. So why don't we call this, to me, this sounds like, I'm sorry, what?
A survey?
Sure, why not? We'll call it a survey. I was looking at the wrong character sheet, damn it. All right, so go for that. And we're just going to call it a straight up roll, right? For your downtime action, for your long-term project. It's a straight up roll, so you're just going to do your survey, standard, or controlled, standard. And then if you want to push yourself or do anything like that, you can also do that. But given the circumstances, I don't think you... Yep. Okay, so with that information, you find out that Grin's assumption was correct. There are a number of factions that are organizing to take out these particular upstart gangs that are essentially forming around the railways. They are beginning to disrupt actual railway service. It is causing a significant problem for the Imperium, and that the Imperium has started to take interest.
Okay. Okay.
So that's going to move you 2 pips, and then there's one final piece of information that I'm going to assume. I messaged Joff privately about this, but he was also asked, because of his experience, to take a leadership role and take a group of men and participate. And you missed that in Discord, I assume, Joff.
I did miss that. I'm looking.
Judging by that facial expression, I would say yes. What?
Oh, look at that.
Well, look at that. So
Ah.
Joff or Grin was offered that opportunity. So whether that comes up later on or not, as you get to the results of this, yeah. So there's more information to be had there still. So okay, we'll call that your first downtime action. What do you want to do with your second one?
With my second one, let's see. Now,
Go ahead, ask your question.
English.
when it comes to the Lost
Mm-hmm.
and their desire to destroy cruel workhouses and people of high stature that are generally fucking over the lower classes and practically enslaving people,
Mm-hmm.
would Sling, or like, would it be that the operation that Sky is running be something of interest to the Lost?
I'm not quite sure what you're asking, and I'm going to ask you a couple of clarification questions as Speedy looks really uncomfortable right now.
Speedy, we need
I'm
you.
mostly
Speedy,
just
we need you to
I'm
leave
just
the room.
confused as to how our operations could be in any way affecting them. We're probably good to them. They, dock workers probably make more money when they smuggle. When we give them a little coin to turn the other way, like we did the other day. They're probably on our side.
He's not genuinely nervous till he starts doing the debate team pen spend. Yeah.
So, what part of the operation do you think that they would take an interest in? I'm just curious.
The part where myself and Grin are practically slaves.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Wow. That's interesting. So you're talking about indentured servitude, for lack of a better word.
Pretty much.
Because you are technically under contract and serve. You are not slaves. You have free will. You have the ability to move about the city, but you are bound by that contract. So would they take interest in that? Probably. Is Sky's operation or the crew's operation a big enough target for them? That's a question that I think can be determined by a fortune roll. But what is the downtime action that you're looking to accomplish here?
I wanted to just let them be aware of a certain Sky.
I think in our contract, I said that you are not allowed to say that you work
If
for
push
me.
comes to shove.
No.
And
In the earlier part of the contract,
Yeah.
in the earlier part of the contract, it was agreed that you cannot tell anyone that you work for me.
That's true.
I'm not saying that I'm working for you.
Okay.
She's just saying that
Are
there's
you
a cloudy sky
so long
ahead.
as you think of that, as long as your character would think of that when you go to them.
So we talked about this a bit off screen. It's all about intent. Her intent is not necessarily to share the information that she works for you. The intent would be to share that generally you are a purveyor of indentured servitude, is my understanding. Okay, but so again, how does that fit into a downtime action? Is this a long-term project where you're trying to clue somebody into the ghost contracts?
A long-term project where I'm trying to.
I'm sorry, what?
I'd say a long-term project. I'd say it would be.
Okay.
I can make your life hell.
You know nothing, sir.
Out of character.
Anyway, it's fine.
I mean, suppose you already lit yourself on fire. What more
I was
can
just
do?
going to say that.
Wow.
For those who don't know, I set myself on fire by accident. That's a thing that happened.
Please be careful next time.
Yes. Set
Don't
yourself
play
on
with fire,
carefully
kids.
next time.
All right. So long-term projects to make the Lost aware of what Sky is doing, or with the ghost contracts. So how are you going to approach this? What is your initial step here, and then we'll figure out an action from that will determine a role.
Okay. My initial action would be to be in the area, which is, I believe, Coleridge, which is
Yes.
where they generally tend to hang out. And I'd like to try and just find somebody and look very, very upset and very scared.
Okay. So you're looking for somebody that the Lost is protecting.
I'm just looking for anybody that might have some affiliation with the Lost.
Okay. You would definitely find somebody who, again, you, through your relationship with Grin, would be able to be pointed in that general direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, I think that Grin's work, although Joff has not said much about it, he tends to follow along those same lines. So he's probably had some loose association. So he would definitely be able to introduce you with somebody in this loose affiliation that is the Lost, somebody who is a protector in that area. And that the person actually matches a lot, looks a lot like Grin in respect to stature. It's definitely somebody who is very physical, and who spends a little bit of time patrolling the streets, and doing exactly that, preventing those types of things. So as you encounter this particular person, long coat, carries a sword, long hair, loosely tied back with a band, a very well-maintained beard, but the person definitely looks dirty. The coat that they're wearing is very much a dock worker's coat to keep away the cold and also to hide, other items on them. And as you approach them, they kind of turn towards you, hand to hilt, and offer you a greetings.
Oh, sir, I'm real sorry to bother you, sir. It's just, well, a friend of mine putting me towards you, sir, see, and I didn't really know where else to go.
He kind of looks you up and down, still with a matter of distrust, and says, "How may I be of service?"
Well, see, where do we live again? Where's Donovan's?
Night Watch.
Night Watch.
Night Market.
Night Market. Sorry, I'm Market. Sorry.
See, it's just I live around Night Market, sir. It's it's not a great life over there, gotta be honest, but I make do. But there's this, there's been rumours, sir, you see, of this man. I don't know too much about it, gotta be honest, but I've heard he's no good, and I've heard he's getting people into a lot of trouble. Good people.
Good people. Trouble? Then how do you know about it if you're not involved with this? And he looks at you doubtfully.
Well, see, sir, anybody in Night Market is involved as much as they can be. It's a tight-knit place over there. You can't really do much without everybody else knowing. Everyone's talking about it over there.
Talking about what?
This guy. He's been, finding people, you see, sir, and offering them some sort of something. I don't really know.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to have you roll something because this seems like something where you're trying to sway him to not only to convince him that you're not connected with Sky, but also that you want him to believe that there's some conflict that's going on there, or there's something that he should take interest in.
Okay.
So,
what position would this be?
Well, let's look at your character sheet real quick.
It doesn't look good in sway, I will say.
Yeah, and you really don't have anything else in resolve that would make this look good at all. So, the situation to me seems risky.
Okay.
Or the position seems risky because he's hovering around doubt at this point. Well, wait a minute. Okay. So, and then the effect I think you're going for probably would be at least standard or great, because you're trying to really sway him in a way that makes him believe you and believe that there's a situation that the Lost or that this particular individual should take interest in, and potentially other individuals.
Mhm.
So,
Can I push myself?
oh, you absolutely can, and take 2 stress.
Good. And that gives me a bonus dice, right?
That is correct.
So I have 1 dice. Here we go.
You could also take a devil's bargain and get yourself a 2nd die.
Can you explain to me what a devil's bargain is?
So a devil's bargain is in simplistic terms, you get an additional die, but you take a consequence of some kind. And I offer you the consequence before you take the devil's bargain, and you can make the decision based on that. It's as if you're actually making a deal with the devil. There is a contract, in so many terms, but you get an additional die, and for that there is a consequence that is definitely going to happen regardless. I'll give you an example.
It's like making a deal with Sky.
No, it isn't.
It's
not.
So I'll give you an example
that you don't know what the thing, you don't know about the whole person after you shake his hand.
Well, so in this particular, so a previous double example that has come up actually over for the Shroud was Nyx took an additional die, and the devil's bargain that he was offered was the blue coats will take an interest in you at some point in the future to talk to you about a very specific situation. So there is a circumstance and there is a consequence that will happen at some point. He's going to be approached by the blue coats. So in this particular case, I'm going to offer you something very similar, and then you will have that will happen to you at some point. Maybe not right now, maybe not this session, but it will come up, and it will be a situation where it's treated as a negative or a consequence, a serious consequence to the situation. So the consequence I'm going to offer you for the devil's bargain is that in some way, shape, or form, information will get back to Sky eventually that there is an inquiry about him.
Fuck.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile.
No, so let me be clear about this. Let me be very, very clear about this. There will be something that comes up that says people are taking interest in your business, Sky. It will not be Sling has started to plot against Sky, or Grin, or Ari, or Nyx, or Orange Crush. It will be a very general thing. From that, he can begin to look into it, but the word would get back to him. And the reason that I choose this as your devil's bargain is because he is a spider. He has an information network that lays out across. And so then if somebody took an interest and mentioned him by name, eventually it would get back to Sky.
Okay.
Now, her not taking this devil's bargain doesn't mean that it definitely won't get back to Sky, does it?
It'll be more of a fate kind of a thing. In this particular case, it would be like me. Your question about it getting back to Sky, at some point it could be a fortune roll, or there might be something else that brings it up. Mm-hmm. In the case of the devil's bargain, this is definitely going to happen. It is a definite consequence by taking that extra die. This is really about the gamble. Do you want the short-term benefit for the possible long-term ramifications?
I mean, I'm going to follow. Joff is nodding, and this let's take the bargain.
Okay, so you give yourself an additional die, which changes the thing so that you just got a success. Wait,
I haven't done anything yet. I haven't rolled yet.
Isn't that what the survey was? Oh no, I'm sorry. That was before. My bad.
But she'll take it.
She'll take it. Yeah, exactly.
What did I question? No, that's I rolled. That's me. No? Okay.
So remember, it's risky, and wait, did we decide on standard or grade? I think it was standard, right?
I think standard.
I think you said greater. But standard's fine too, whatever. And you take 3 stress total from that, right?
That's fine.
She takes 2 stress.
2 stress for
pushing herself. The devil's bargain, I don't think she takes a stress for, does she?
I thought it was 1 stress and the consequence.
Okay, so yeah, 3 stress. Hey, guess what? You got a lot of ice to start using.
I've got a lot of drugs to start using it for, so that's fine.
Mm-hmm. That's right. All right. Wow.
I got a 6. Is that?
That is a success with okay, so that is a success without immediate consequence.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you took so typically when you roll something with the fact that you have no values in it, no pips in it, whatever, no attributes, you would take the lower of the two. Because you took the devil's bargain and the stress and pushed yourself, you start really kind of rambling, and you start to get really passionate, and you get teary-eyed a little bit. And there's also a little bit, because of the stress, you're starting to feel that need to fulfill your to deal with your stress, your need for the drugs. So you're starting to go with withdrawals a little bit, and you're starting to get a little intense. And with all of that, the guy just kind of looks at you and says, meet me at the Devil's Tooth in 2 nights.
Yes, sir. I'll be there.
All right. And so we're going to call that progress of 3 on your progress, your long-term clock for this.
Cool. Thank you. Sorry, Speedy.
No, it's okay. I'm going to hear about it.
Sorry. She's not sorry.
I'm happy you took that devil's bargain.
I'm not sorry.
I'm excited.
So he tells you to do that. He sends you on your way, and he immediately begins to move off and start to talk to somebody else that was sitting on the street that looked like a child at first, but stands up and was actually a woman who was watching the entire exchange. And they both move off. And we'll call that your second downtime action. Do you want to take some more stress and push yourself for an additional downtime action? I'm sorry, not to push yourself. Take a spend rep or
Coin
to take an additional downtime action.
How much coin would it take for me to be able to do some drugs?
So to indulge your vice, it would take 1.
Okay. Can I do that?
I believe characters start with 2 coin. Is that correct? I haven't actually created a character. Yes, you've got 2 coin. So if you want to go ahead and do that and take an additional. So what you're going to do on your character sheet is you're going to mark off one of the coins.
Okay.
And then you're going to click on Indulge Vice.
Oh, this is going to go horribly wrong, isn't it? I'm going to die.
Well, so you've got 6 stress. No matter what, you're not going to overindulge.
Ah, fab. That's fine.
Very good. So you take the higher of the 2. So you remove 4 stress.
1, 2.
Wait, is it the higher of the 2? Why?
Yep.
Wait,
what?
It says take the lowest.
Why does she have the lowest for her vice? That's interesting.
What?
Clear an amount of stress equal to the highest die value. If the result of your vice roll clears more stress levels than you have, you overindulged. Oh, you know what? I think the 0 dice is a side effect of the fact that it's not tied to an attribute or an action.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I will look at that later. But for right now, you've just cleared 4 of your stress.
Sweet.
Okay. All right. So you've spent the coin. You've done the additional downtime action. Do you want to do anything else?
I'm good.
Okay. Wow. All right. So who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay. Brynn, what are you doing for your downtime actions?
I think for the first one, just because of the scene that happened with Sling and Ari,
okay.
I'm just going to say I was indulging my vice.
Do you have how much stress do you have?
I actually, you know what? That would be a waste. I have 1 stress.
Yeah, I would suggest that you not do that because the risk of overindulging at that point and getting a consequence for it. For example, a consequence in this particular case because you were drinking would have been you got too drunk and started a bar fight or something and then caught some additional heat for it. And that heat would go on to the crew, not just yourself. The heat,
and also pushes the limitations of the contract.
Exactly.
Okay, in that case, for my first downtime action, I want to continue. Do you remember last week, Grin started he was reading the notes, and he was doing really well gathering information. But that ultimate goal of destroying the Foghounds, I'd like to continue to pursue means to an end.
Okay.
And I have this notion of trying to either get someone I know into their ranks, or otherwise bribe or intimidate someone low in their ranks and try and get some eyes and ears within their organization. But I don't know how to go about that.
Okay, so with a long-term project, so there's a couple of ways that you're doing it. If you're targeting the Foghound specifically for a score, and it sounds like the Red Sashes offered Sky the opportunity for another score against the Foghounds. If Sky had communicated that, then what I would suggest you do is to acquire an asset. And that asset can be used, and basically what an asset is it's a temporary cohort or expert that you can use as a part of that next score. Given the circumstance, if Sky hasn't shared that information with Grin, then this would be more of a long-term project kind of a thing, and then we have to figure out how you're going to go about cultivating that contact. Okay,
well, let's put it to Speedy. Speedy, did Sky share... Did you debrief Grin or anyone after your meeting?
I wouldn't have told them about like what most of the meeting was about, but I would have said like, yeah, if we need another job anytime soon, the Red Sashes have a grudge against the Foghounds.
Okay, and then I might have asked, okay, if there's anything coming, would it be useful to have someone within their ranks?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I want to pursue, Johnny.
Okay, so you're gonna go for an asset.
Yeah.
Let me jump back to the downtime action detail real quick. Sorry about that. Okay, so acquiring an asset. Acquiring an asset basically gains a temporary use of a cohort, a special item, a vehicle, or a service. So in this particular case, you're asking for someone who is inside the Foghounds organization.
Yeah.
So with that, I'm going to have you, let's see. You're going to roll the cruise tier. And last night, Nyx did something very similar. And instead of having it roll 0 and do lower of the 2, what I'm going to have you do is roll 1d6 to just as the basis. So essentially you're getting lucky, or you're however we're determining it, but you're just going to roll a 1d6 and we're going to determine the quality of the asset from that.
Can I do anything to improve that roll?
You can definitely take a devil's bargain, and you can also definitely push yourself.
I'll push myself. So that's 2 stress, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And that gets me an extra die.
That is correct.
Okay. Let's see how my dice rolling is.
Dice have been all over the place tonight, so let's see.
Okay, talk me through how to roll again.
Just go down to the comment at the bottom on the right-hand side and just type /roll space 2d6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just the basic stuff that you would do in D&D. Wow.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
I'm glad I got that second die.
Okay. So you get a tier 1 quality asset. Right. Yes. Tier 1 asset, a quality asset. You can spend some coin to raise the results of the roll. Well, wait a minute. I'm sorry. But on critical. Okay, that's only for the critical. I'm sorry. I'm reading that incorrectly. So you get a tier 1 asset inside of the Foghounds organization. Tell me about this asset. How do you go about acquiring this asset? What is it that this asset is going to do for you?
Well, I know that there's Skovlan refugees throughout Doskvol, so I would probably explore finding some of my countrymen. Grin does wear on the inside of his lapel. He used to be a captain.
For the Skovlan military,
right? Skovlan military. He was not a captain for very long. He was honorably discharged, but under questionable circumstances. But he still wears the insignia because flashing it to other Scoveland vets, you know, it has some weight. And possibly going through channels, he was able to whittle down several countrymen within the Foghound's ranks, and perhaps with a little bit of surveying was able to pick one that might be amenable to an arrangement, especially some coin. So a little bit of research, you know, it would take a little bit of time, but I think Grin would be able to whittle it down and track one member's movements. You know, he's maybe not lowest rung, maybe he's not highest rung, but maybe someone that's, I don't know, middling within their ranks.
Okay.
Maybe actually, if Grin can identify another vet, that might be huge. If he could actually find someone that might be amenable to an arrangement with a retired captain within the Scoveland military, that might be a good way to secure a connection, make it a bit more personal.
Okay, so you spend a fair amount of time in this, in this downtime activity, just kind of, casing the different foghounds, watching them, building on the information that Moon and Sling acquired when the initial score was being had, building on other pieces of information that you acquired through both first and second score, and you were able to find a lieutenant that of their dwindling, resources, of their dwindling, men, dwindling human resources, essentially. Someone who used to be in the Scoveland military as well, but who now serves as a lieutenant, specifically on their steamship. That is one of their few resources that the Foghounds still have, and that steam resource, or that steamship, is called the Foghound. And
Zing.
yeah, exactly.
Real
but it's
creative.
Hey man, it's in the book. You want to look at it? It's in the book. A medium steamship called the Foghound. All right, buddy.
It's not like it's going to get confused with all the others.
Right, exactly. But so he happens to serve essentially in the ranks on that ship, which is currently docked in port. It isn't, being sent out, right now. So he's kind of bored and idle, especially given the fact that there's a lot of coin to be earned and he's not seeing it. So
okay.
After buying him some drinks, you definitely you make a friend.
I'm acquaintance. I'm happy to part with a coin for this effort.
No,
No?
you're spending the effort of doing this. You're spending the effort of, you're spending a downtime action. It would be assumed that any coin that you're spending would generally be looped into that in some way, like, a few silver pieces to buy him drinks or whatever.
Okay. Oh,
okay.
That kind of unofficially lets me again explore my vice with this lieutenant.
Right, unofficially. So the next time that, right, exactly. All right. So now you've acquired an asset, a tier 1 asset. Now make sure you document this on your somewhere in your notes. I'll take it as well. But if you don't use it towards the end of this session, then it'll carry over till you decide to use him. Okay. Now, when you've got a bit of time, read in the book about what you can do with that asset and maintaining it as a long-term asset. So, you can take it as a long-term project or take it as a crew upgrade. So, anyways, that's your first downtime action. What do you want to do with your second one?
Okay, well, assuming after the first downtime action, I actually do report back to Sky and I let him know that I have acquired someone, and he's a valuable resource. I don't know how long he'll be reliable, but we have someone on the Foghound. Then I am going to let me think. I knew what I was going to do and then I forgot. I'm going to do some training.
Okay. And what are you training?
I would like to train. I want to improve my prowess, specifically prowl.
Okay.
And I'm trying to think of a good way in story that I practice prowling.
Well, it could be said that in casing casing the foghounds and trying to find an asset, that also applies, and that can be your spend or your other downtime action applied with the 1 XP that you earn. So go ahead and mark that in your prowess.
Okay.
Your XP block, and then you're good to go.
Okay, that's me.
All right. So since Hocus is going to go last, I believe that means Ari is up.
That's
Ari,
me.
what would you like to do?
So once again, I think we're in a position where there's no point for me in trying to indulge my vice. I don't have any stress at this point, I don't believe.
Okay.
So I'm going to work on reducing the heat of our crew.
Okay, that's interesting. Is this something that you're taking on your own, or is this something that you're doing as a result of a conversation with Sky?
I think, I think this might actually be more interesting if I bring Sky into the mix.
Okay.
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 I'm listening.
Okay.
You don't want to bring Hocus in the mix?
All right. So when you reduce your heat, there may or may not be an action roll involved. Typically there is, but narratively speaking, we need some details about how you're going to do this. And since you're going to involve Sky, it sounds like there's going to be some wonderful, RP interaction there. So why don't you go ahead and carry us through, and then I'll tell you when there's an actual action to roll to make.
All right. So Ari, after returning back, I guess, from her minor bit of drinking with Grin and Sling, she's feeling pretty confident. She's feeling a little bit maybe too confident for her own good. And she's going to see Sky just kind of doing his thing, looming about, and says, "So, what are you up to tonight? Have any plans, or could I maybe interest you in something?"
Well, no plans besides usual business. What is it you have in mind?
Well, as you know, our last bit of activity didn't exactly go down as quietly as possible. I was thinking maybe we could do something about such.
Well, I mean, I think it was a fairly quiet job, but if you have something in mind to reduce whatever heat we may have acquired, I'd be more than interested to hear.
There's incognito, and then there's nobody even having a clue that anything happened at all.
Fire. What do you suggest?
I suggest that, and this is where I'm actually going to ask, is there a chance that anybody would have either seen us and that's what's caused the heat, or reputation, I'm guessing, is probably more what's getting us the heat at this point?
So the heat that was acquired from the previous score, the one heat dealt specifically with the fact that the Foghounds were incredibly upset that somebody stole a job from them. And that's not directly related to the crew, but it does put a little pressure on you because other folks in the Red Sashes might be on the take of the Foghounds or somebody else who are aware of that, and they might put two and two together. That's one example of how the information might be out there. I believe that because of we said the death of Moon from the previous score was where you actually encouraged some heat from the first score that you guys did. There was something else.
That was how we got rid of the complications, was because Moon died.
Right, but you also got some heat because of it.
Oh, well, because there was a death involved, yeah.
Because there was a murder involved, and because So crew currently has 3 heat. Is that correct? I think that's what my notes said.
How many did we receive this job?
You only received 1.
Then I think we have 2 heat.
Oh, okay. So you have 2 heat. All right. So the crew is not. So Ari, the crew is not necessarily being talked about by name, but there is general interest in the fact that there is movement going on against the Foghounds, and it's being perceived as an outside source. And so there's general interest now of anybody moving in their general direction. So any type of interaction or any type of conflict with the Foghounds is being keenly watched, which is what's garnering the interest, including, and heat generally means coming from the Bluecoats or the inspectors or even the military.
So there's a way that we can maybe sway the heat to go onto a different faction other than ourselves.
Misdirection is definitely an opportunity there. So sway is probably the correct role to do that if that's what you want to do.
What do you reckon, Sky? Shall we see if we can move this heat along to another group other than ourselves?
I certainly wouldn't be opposed. Is there anyone you have in mind?
Okay, this is where I ask about what maybe other factions has Ari possibly heard about, and has she maybe heard about Shroud?
Yes.
Wow, that's
yes.
brilliant. I hope Mike is watching right now. This is
even if he's not, Lisa is.
Lisa definitely is. Yeah.
In chat, yeah, absolutely. So rather than me give you a definitive answer, I'm going to throw this up to Fortune. Briefly again, Fortune roll is when I want to hand things off to fate and see what randomness determines for us. So let me go ahead and pull up the quick sheet for Fortune rolls. All right, so starts out with one die in the mix. This is not something where you're taking an uncertain outcome, so that's not going to affect it. Let's see, what else is there? Not supernatural involved. However, this does involve a rival faction, and because it's the other crew, I'm going to give you an additional die specifically just for that.
I'm so excited.
If you're using sway,
I'm quite proficient in sway.
You're quite proficient in sway. There is something where, because of how you're doing this, the misdirection, I can also include your sway rating into that roll, so that now becomes 4 dice for this fortune roll.
3 of which are going to be 6s.
Right.
Prediction.
Right. All right. So yeah, I'm going to throw you guys 4 dice because you're going to take your 2 sway plus the 1 die that you get initially, plus another because this is directly related to the opposing crew and or another faction that is in the same interest. This is getting interesting, guys. This is the first time anybody is taking direct action against somebody else. All right. So roll 46.
So close.
So close. So it's still a success, but it's not a great success.
One.
Yeah, it's not an overwhelming success. Wow. Okay. Tell me a little bit about Ari's past in respect to her relationships and people that she's worked with prior to coming to Sky.
Okay, well, for Ari, she doesn't have a clue who her father or mother is, really. She just knows that she was born in a broth brothel and has been raised in that brothel since. So she tends to have a good relationship with most wenches of the night. And she's never found a place where she's belonged. So she flits from group to group to group, has a contact and her finger dipped in too many honeypots for her own good, really. But she's never found anything stable or, I guess, for her, exciting enough to make her want to stay permanently or to
Does she have? I'm sorry. Go. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, go.
Well, I was gonna. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, just she's never really formed a relationship that's close enough that she will truly be devoted or trusting of that one person or group.
Okay. So would she have felt anything close to friendship to anybody that she's in the same business as her, in the same circles? Is there anybody that she would have gotten close to and then got burned by that particular person, or multiple?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's led to part of her trust issues and self-reliance.
Okay, I know exactly how I'm going to do
why
this.
She told Sky that she wanted in on part of the bargain rather than just taking his side only.
Okay, I know exactly how I'm going to do this. Now, I want you to roll me a sway roll, and I will tell you how that's all connected, because you are definitely going to have some effect in transitioning the information about the heat from yourself or your crew to the other crew. But I just want to see how the sway roll goes first and how successful you are before I tell you exactly how that falls out.
Okay, so would that be a D20 or
no? So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your character sheet.
Okay.
And you're gonna click on the word sway.
Okay, the word sway.
And that should bring up a window that offers you position.
Yep.
Since this is a downtime action, there's not going to be any position or effect. You're gonna roll this, but you're rolling that particular skill. So just go ahead and click controlled, and then we're going to call it a standard effect. And then the question comes up: do you want to push yourself at all? Do you want to get a devil's bargain?
Sure, let's do it.
Do which? Because you get one for each, right? If you push yourself, it takes.
I'll push myself.
Okay, you're going to take 2 stress, so you'll mark that on your character sheet, and you'll get an additional die.
Cool.
And then roll it.
And the effect is standard?
Yeah.
Okay. Bonus dice is 1, and boom.
Oh, okay. It wasn't showing up for me for just a second there. Sorry about that. All right. Excellent. Great. It's a success with, some limit to the, essentially there's not a complete success. It's not an amazing, like, oh my God. But for all intents and purposes, first things first. From a heat perspective, I believe you have just blown away all the heat. Let me double check that just to make sure.
The Phantom!
So yes, she has. So Ari successfully removes the 2 heat that currently is on the Phantom character or the crew sheet. So mechanically speaking, that's done. So here's what happens. As you begin to kind of ply your way and start to kind of sow disinformation, you hear some rumors about a previous acquaintance of yours who you had worked for briefly in your past, who goes by the name OC, and she had wronged you at some point, or there had been a disagreement, and your relationship with her had ended, and you had moved on, but that situation, that relationship burned a little bit, right? It's always there in the back of your mind. And you've been hearing some rumors recently that she has, she's working with a couple of other people in some very secret dealings, and she's been spotted very recently in Silk Shore, with some nobles and brokering some conversations that seems a little out of place or her overreaching, and that kind of either burns you a little bit. However Ari feels about that relationship, and I'll let you talk about the specifics. You don't have to talk about it now. We can carry it on into some other part of the story. But you saw information that OC might be directly involved with the shenanigans that were going on with the Foghounds. All the two scores that have happened. You saw the misinformation that OC might be connected or responsible with that, thus implying that metagame-wise, the Shroud is directly involved or responsible for the two jobs that have been committed against the Foghounds.
Nice. And they get some heat from that? They get the 2 heat that we had?
No, they're not going to get heat. It's going to have a narrative effect. It wouldn't necessarily transfer over, although that's an interesting mechanic, and we can talk about it off screen. Because I think that's actually, if you guys are going to directly be in conflict with each other, I love the idea. I just want to make sure that everybody's okay with that transfer, and we'll talk about that off screen. But
I'm so happy.
Please document somewhere in your notes or background, Ari, that you are indirectly connected or had a previous connection with OC. And I'm sure that Miss Ginger Ninja is going to kill me for doing that. Okay, so you successfully remove that heat from the crew. That is your first downtime action. You have another. What would you like to do?
Ooh, downtime action. I think what I'll try and do is acquire an asset.
Oh, okay. And where do you want this asset? Now,
actually, you know what? I'm just going to train. I'm just going to train.
Fair enough. What would you like to train?
I would like to train. Sorry, getting up my character sheet again.
It's okay.
What does consort necessarily do for me?
So consort, from the brief description, is connections from your heritage, background, friends, or rivals to gain access to resources and information, people, or places. Now, the downtime action that you just took against the Shroud, specifically mentioning OC, definitely plays into the friends and rivals kind of a situation.
Okay.
So we can just call that as the explanation for your second downtime action, and then you'll just notch one of the resolve XP pips there or whatever at the top for resolve.
Okay.
And we'll call that good.
Sounds good.
Okay. Do you want to spend an additional rep or any coin for an additional downtime action?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Wow. Okay. 2 hours later, with Hocus,
which is really bleeding into free play. There's really not much that I'm going to do with my downtime anyway, so I'm going to use it because it does involve all of us as narrative into free play.
Okay. So do you have 2 downtime actions that you have in mind, or is this just one that you have in mind? And is there something else? Okay. So can you do me a favor?
No.
While we're doing this first one, think about a second one just so that you can just drop it, whatever it is. And it can be training or whatever. But so why don't you tell us about your first downtime action?
Well, at some point, Hocus is going to come in from work and is a bit miffed because he realizes that now he has no tea at the house. So he's gotten here and there's still no tea, and so he's very frustrated. And so he gets in and he's talking to Sky about something, whatever it is. And at one point, he's kind of in mid-sentence, and his eyes just kind of go vague for a second. And he just, I know, stop it! And turns back the sky, and then kind of collects himself again. And is like, sorry.
What was that?
What was what?
You told me to stop it?
No, sorry. It was different. Never mind. It not a yes. Nothing. Not you. It's not you. What I was.
I'm starting to get a little concerned.
Yes. I'm all right.
Spirits bothering you again?
Yes, they are. Sorry, this is. I don't mean to seem angry with you. I'm not angry with you. I know I'm. When you and I first met, and you first, we first started speaking after I delivered the letter from the other group. You had asked if I know anything about spirits, and I just sort of said too much, and that was rude of me. I apologize for that. Yes, I do know a fair bit about the spirits and whatnot, and there are two in particular that seem to interact with me on occasion. They they don't follow me per se. They're very, not to use a bad pun, but somewhat ethereal. They come and go as they please, and whenever they feel there's something that they absolutely must tell me about, immediately they tend to be rather brusque and interrupt in the middle of a sentence. They were children who lived in I don't remember exactly where, but not now. And they wanted to, and this part was rather adorable, they wanted to form a Screevers Guild because they fancied themselves prolific artists, and drawing on sidewalks was a beautiful thing. And they specialized in extremely detailed things that Tittle, that's the little girl, and she specialized in some of the more prank oriented things, drawing on a piece of cobblestone to make it look like a pit, so that people would try to walk around it. She took great pleasure in that. Whereas and hers is more no, I'm sorry, you're right, that was Tittle. That was Jot, the brother, who tended towards stone, working in stone, and very sharp, angular, rigid things. And then there was Tittle. She was more very fluid, graceful lines and such. And so between the two of them, they were capable of making some absolutely beautiful.
Get to the point.
I'm trying to. So they've apparently done something, and they want us all to see it.
Done something?
Well, specifically a piece of art.
They want us to look at a piece of art.
Yes.
I mean, can we just not?
We could, but I will almost certainly become utterly useless to you, as they will. Have you ever been to a child's birthday party with 160 children all screaming constantly at the same time?
Can't say I have. I don't much like kids.
Yes, I could imagine so. But one of the problems that I have when dealing with spirit matters is that it's difficult for me to close things out, to bottle myself up. So I can't make them be quiet. So Well, welcome to say no if you wish, but
No, it's fine. We can take care of this. How long will this take? Where is this thing they need to show us?
it's on the north end of Night Market, right on the edge of the water.
Do they need to show all of us?
That's what they said.
All right, fine. That's not too far from here. Grin, Sling, Ari, we've got a situation apparently. Some ghost wants us to look at a piece of art.
Say what?
What?
Yeah, I can't totally say I understand, but Hocus assures me that it is very important to him.
A really important piece of art.
Hocus assures you that it's very important to them.
Okay.
To where? To who?
These
To me?
These ghosts.
To Grin?
No, these ghost children that follow
Sky.
Oh my
To
gosh.
Eric.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Sky, you hear this? This is what it's like. But you can't cut it out.
No, you're absolutely right. I want to thank Ayami really quickly for donating incredible amounts of money. I've been trying to not say it on stream when people have been donating, but Ayami just donated a total of $145, bringing us up to now $300 raised for Joff.
And she's just donated again.
What?
Yeah. We've reached the total.
And there was yesterday as well. She was donating yesterday.
Yeah,
Ayami.
so she's donating a lot of money.
Ayami!
Oh my god.
And
guys.
especially
all this money is going
Ayami
towards-
herself is going through at this point in time. Like on top of that, so just my goodness, girl, that love, that generosity.
It's incredible.
It's amazing.
Ayami is an incredibly generous person. She's fantastic. She's come to my streams a lot. She's donated for my charity events in massive amounts as well. She's so generous, and she's been through a lot herself. She's had a lot of medical bills to deal with, so she understands. All of this money is going towards Joff and to cover the medical bills that for his daughter, and this is all just a very. I'm just very happy to have Ayami as part of this community and have Joff as part of this community and have everyone be so generous and kind, and we've raised the full $300.
Ayami, thank you. Ayami, would you like this cat?
I'm gonna
That
be
is
like
good
totally
pain.
like weird here and mention like, isn't this just a pure example of like the Twitch unity thing that they would
Yeah,
Oh,
it really
yeah.
is.
Absolutely.
like this week is meant to be celebrating Twitch unity. They had a particular day, but I say it goes on for like at least a week or so because there's still people promoting it and whatnot. But this is it.
It can go on year round. Every
Mhm.
day.
It does.
Forever.
Yeah, it
Twitch
does.
unity is forever.
We are a family and we take care of our own.
Yeah, exactly.
Hit right here, right now. Twitch unity.
So yeah, Twitch unity, guys.
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers.
Oh, wait, sorry, that's upside down, isn't it? There we go.
But love.
But love.
But love.
But love.
Sending you all the butt love, Ayami. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ayami. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. It's incredible. I'm glad we're able to help you out, Choff.
Dang it.
Okay. We'll get back into RP and you can cry silently in the
chopped
corner.
the onion? Fuck you, Frank. Fuck you for chopping those onions over there.
Get out of here!
Oh, what?
Damn it, Frank.
Who invited Frank? This happens every
Who
time.
invited
God
Frank?
damn it, Frank.
You never bring Frank to a party.
He always brings the onions. I don't know why.
There's a hot dog joke in there somewhere.
Please make it. I'm kind of curious.
Well,
Something with relish, right?
Franks.
Something
Franks
with
and-
relish.
What about buns?
At least we would relish in that joke.
we should
Damn it,
not.
I was just gonna say that.
We should not discuss Frank's buns. No.
And they thought they had the most fun on last night's show.
It's mm-mm.
Oh, God.
It's gonna wind up like when your dog's about to throw up and he's just sitting there going,
Oh,
God damn it.
Voice
I feel like I maybe zoned out for a second and then came back into it's like when your dog's about to throw up. And I was like, wait. A minute ago we were talking about Frank, and now I'm very confused.
Yeah.
Now dogs are puking. What the hound is going
Everything
on?
is a mess.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God.
Nice one. What the hell
that-
is going on? I like that.
And that was session 3. Good night, folks.
That's the end of our downtime.
Oh my God.
Everything Hocus wanted to share with the group right there. No, that was
So, what's you guys want to go see some ghost art?
Sure. You know what? Sure.
I got nothing better to do.
all right then. I would say follow them, but you probably can't see them very well. So follow me then. And
Whatever you say.
out the door. And Johnny, can you jump back to the map? No, I'm
Sure.
sorry, not whichever one of you controls which window we're looking at.
That would be me.
Okay, good.
So we're gonna go back to them. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the particular thing, if you look up at Night Market, the building that I'm talking about is this one I am pinging right here on the right at the farthest north edge
Yeah.
of the thing.
And we established before stream that we think our base is probably somewhere around there.
Yeah. So we get up to the thing, and this is right before sunset when we get there. And
Sunset?
right before sunset. There is a
Do
sunset.
you...
Where?
There is a sunset. Yeah.
Oh,
he's-
yeah,
he's
yeah.
absolutely
That's right.
right.
There's like
There's
a
the-
brief moment of light
Right,
in the
there's
sky.
dawn and there's
Oh.
sunset. So
Right, right.
just the rest of the time it's practically night. So we get there, and the entire side of this building has been covered with this swirling mess of soot and you know the really fine almost like a metallic powder from milling and smithing work and fish scales and just other substances that we may not necessarily want to know what they are, but it's just all across the thing, and it just looks like someone drew a picture of this building on the side of this building. But there's like swirls at the bottom. And so as we're all standing here looking at this thoroughly unimpressive piece of art, that Hocus is now rather embarrassed to have brought the entire crew all the way to the other end of Night Market for this, what? Well, how long? And he turns and looks off to the west, just as the sun dips down right to the edge of the layer of the clouds, and it all lights up. And that small bit of evening sunlight hits the side of the building, and that orange glow animates everything. And it becomes this golden fretted, just beautiful picture of what is basically what these children imagine Doskvol would look like if the cataclysm had never happened. And the swirling patterns at the bottom are, you know, the ocean waves moving in and crashing up against the beach, and huge golden spires that the fish scales cause the light to reflect in golds and blues and reds and whatnot. And it is just this, since the kids basically specialize in trompe l'oeil, it looks real from where we are.
Wow.
Did you just bring us here to show us how much our lives suck in comparison to how great this is? Because this isn't this like.
Have you guys been smoking what I've been smoking, or is this actually beautiful?
I mean, I've been taking a lot of
Yeah,
things, so that
thing of
doesn't
beauty.
help.
This is quite good. It's very good. And Hocus will turn to Sky and say, you know, like I said, I was I was very curt with you, and I believe you have, when you told me to maintain my professionalism. I would say that this sort of thing, no, not this image, this painting, whatever you want to call it, this piece of art, I wouldn't say that this is what drives me to be the kind of person that I am, but the hope that someday, perhaps whatever has been done to this world can be undone, and that this can be made again. This is what gives me hope. This is the reason why I strive to be someone who deserves this. Not to put a downer on the situation, but that is the reason. And he pulls back his sleeve, again revealing that monstrous scarring around his wrist, and the small image of a bird next to it. That is why this, in many ways, is highly offensive to me, because you never gave me a chance to earn your trust before you presumed you didn't deserve it. And he rolls up his sleeve, buttons it up, turns to the kids and says, "Thank you both, and thank all of you." And he goes back to Donovan's.
Well, if this is what his art exhibitions tend to be like, I'm down for any time.
Yeah, no, sign me right up.
Johnny, I don't know if you want to bring in the thing that Mike said about the ghosts, or if that is going to be a different thing.
Okay. I definitely wanted to bring in the element of some sort of conflict in respect to the Unquiet Dead, and I thought that Mike's suggestion is great. I'm going to carry that over because this story was pretty phenomenal, and I think that given the circumstances and the Tittle and Jot talking to and pestering Hocus definitely qualifies in a much more not subtle way, but non-aggressive way to deal with the Unquiet Dead. I think that that's just perfect. And so we're going to carry Mike's suggestion over and his donation over into another story element probably next week or the week after. However that kind of jumps in and fits in. So it can definitely play in without it being that entanglement, because that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was awesome.
That was fantastic.
Oh, and then it starts to rain as soon as the sun is gone. Because remember, that only lasts for a few seconds. And then the sun is gone, it starts raining, and everything just starts streaking away down the thing, and it's just gone. That's why they needed us here when they needed us here. Okay, sorry, Karen.
Wow.
Beautiful little scene.
Okay, so I'm going to call that a narrative downtime action where you essentially dealt with circumstance. I mean, there's not anything that really applies mechanically speaking, but I'm just going to call that one of your downtime actions. That was amazing. So what do you want to do with your second downtime action?
I'm going to go ahead and train.
Okay. So just pick whatever, if you go anything in, I think, insight, where I think that, whether it's a tune or anything else that falls into insight, that totally applies. Or resolve, sorry.
I was like, what? Wait, what?
Yep.
Yeah, I think probably a tune.
Okay. So yeah, just have it fall into resolve then. So you just trained a bit of resolve.
There we go.
Okay. Do you want to push yourself? Or
nope.
Or sorry, I keep saying push yourself, but that's not correct. It's
rep or
coin. Okay. All right. So downtime has ended. You've all taken some level of action, and wow, that went on a lot longer. But I got to tell you guys, there was a lot of story development going on in there, and I have plenty of things to work with, not only for this crew, but for the other crew now. So developments of last night had some effect on this show. This show definitely had an impact on them. So that was phenomenal, guys.
I'm
Good job.
glad.
Oh, I'm sure they are too.
I'm glad we could screw them over in some small way.
Just a tipple. Just a tipple.
In some way, Mike is going to be very mad.
So Ari drew first blood. Let's just be clear about that. Ari drew first blood.
Don't bring me into this.
Absolutely.
What did I do?
I think, well, I mean, we don't know about the circumstances of their past, but OC might have drawn first blood, really, when you think about it.
This
You're
is
right.
just,
So
girls protecting girls. I've got your back, Ari. Girl power. Ow, I should not have done that.
Your poor head.
I'm sorry. Do you need a moment? Because that looked like it hurt.
Or maybe some morphine.
More morphine.
Okay.
Oh,
So
the drugs.
So this was just the shuttlecock getting knocked back over the net towards the other crew. Okay.
Yeah. Well, so there's enough. So that there was enough of an effect that it's that there are now rumors about the crew. Let's talk about that just in how that's probably going to impact in a direct way. There's going to be, there's definitely going to be interest in the other crew and what they're doing now because of what Ari did. It also eliminated your heat. I like the idea that Speedy just had, and I need to talk. I'm going to get and take Speedy and Mike off to a side, and let's talk about the whole heat thing and how it fits in, and whether you can transfer heat from one another. I love that concept, but we'll do it off screen because that makes it more. That makes it just. We'll see how that kind of flows. With all that being said, you guys have now moved out of downtime and are into free play, which means that you can start looking and preparing for your next score.
I will say that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say that Brynn is probably, Sling is probably, she probably stayed at where we all went to go see that beautiful picture. And even though the picture's gone, she probably is still there, just kind of looking at the wall where the picture once was. So if anybody needs to come see her about drugs, that's where you'll find me.
Whoa, man. It's still going.
It's like the wall is melting in the rain. It is.
Okay, so with that in mind, you guys are now in a situation where you can explore the opportunity that was presented to you by the Red Sashes. There's been a bunch of other little bits of information that have dropped that are essentially breadcrumbs to other scores, or you guys can come up with something that I may not have clued you into. Does anybody have any ideas?
Before we do that, I really just want to get to calling Sling out for trying to steal drugs.
Oh, okay.
When you say trying, do you mean successfully?
I guess you have the drugs. Sling, can I talk to you for a minute?
I suppose so, sir.
Ooh. And Ari wanders away at that point.
Sling,
I'm so glad that she's here.
I can tell you are gonna be the best of friends. Listen, Sling, that last job we pulled, we as you know, we scored a good amount of lure from the other carriages that you were not in.
Didn't know that, but okay. Interesting. Thanks for letting me know.
Well, I think I would have let you know. Like, I mean, we would have had to.
I knew
all work
that.
together.
Brilliant. Thanks for reminding me.
We scored a good bit of allure from this deal. It's I know you personally have an interest in this. It's part of our deal. I provide you with the lure you desire, or that you need, anyways.
So
Find it interesting, to say the least, that there was only lure in 2 of these carts, and not the 3rd.
that is pretty interesting, sir. You are correct.
And somewhat interesting that the one cart there was nothing in was the one that you were looking around in first.
Are you accusing me of something here, sir? Because as far as I know, I ain't necessarily done anything wrong.
Well, here's the thing. See, you're under contract with me, and I realize that I may not have worded it as tightly as perhaps I should have now. Because I'm fairly certain that there's something that you may not be telling me. And so,
Ah,
as you know, part of our deal, you do what I say when I say it. Tell me right now, did you find any lure in that cart?
I did, yeah. And if you'd have asked me outright, I probably could have told you then as well. Instead, we had to go around this whole roundabout, and now here we are. Yes,
I mean-
found some lore.
I asked you that question when we were back in the cart, and you found it in yourself to lie to me.
Didn't lie, though, did I, sir?
You skirted the truth, to say the least. I'd like to, if I may, renegotiate some terms here.
Put me under a second contract. I've already got this one. And she'll like point to where the birds are.
Well, it's fairly simple. See, because this, apparently my last deal wasn't quite, airtight enough. All I want from you is a promise that you will not lie to me, and that you will not avoid telling me the truth when you know what it is I want to know.
And nothing else in it for me, is there, sir? Same old, same old.
You keep your job, you keep your lure.
Give me 2 days.
2 days for what?
Sleep on it.
No. You're gonna tell me what you want to do right now.
I want to sleep on it.
You're not in much of a position to be negotiating, I have to tell you.
I'm not necessarily trying to negotiate here, sir. Trying to get some rest.
I see no reason why you'd need 2 nights. I would prefer that you give me an answer now. Otherwise, I can tell you to go stand in that corner for 2 days and you can answer me then.
Stand in the corner for 2 days.
You can do it or you can breach your contract.
This is the worst thing in my life.
The ultimate timeout.
The ultimate timeout.
Sky,
Sorry? What was that, Hocus? I'm in the middle of something.
yes, I understand that. They won't shut up about it.
Sounds like you better listen to him.
Look, listen. It's a message. I suspect you may wish to know.
And what is that?
She says, "Do you remember my last birthday?"
Don't know what that could mean.
Do you forget somebody's birthday, Sky?
She also says that Jot and Tittle seem nice, and she wants to see their artwork.
That's lovely for whoever this ghost is. Now, Sling.
I believe
So this
she's
is, if
in
you're
Greece.
busy. Wait, hang on. Can we just rewind? Can we just take a moment and just rewind here a second? Who's in the basement?
He should know.
Out of character, just want to say, my sister does not have a birth. My sister and I don't have birthdays. We were orphans. We never knew when we were born. We don't even know which one of us is older. We kind of assumed she was, but girls mature faster anyway, so.
That wasn't what I
So-
remember about your character past. What I remember about your character description previously, just so I'm clear about this, because I'm feeding Hocus some information here, is that you had some past with your family. That you knew your parents at one point, and that you were older than her.
Right, let me double check. I might have written that down on my character sheet and then changed what I thought I would have for my.
Okay. I mean, and that's fine. I mean, again, I'm working probably on old information, or I'm probably working on information that was assumed from your description of her prior to when we ran the one shot.
Mm-hmm.
So modifying what Hocus is feeding you, he's still kind of pointing to the fact that your sister is poking him to poke you.
So, have you got somebody down in the basement?
No, I do not. And Hocus, I would prefer it if you shut your mouth.
Yes, I'm sure you would.
Well, this doesn't seem to concern me, gentlemen. I will
Sling, stay right
be on
there.
my way.
The fact that you want me to shut my mouth has no bearing on the fact that she is continuing to yell your name. And you want me to maintain my professionalism, sir? This is part of it.
Very well. Sling, we'll talk about this later. Hocus, you come with me.
All right.
Okay. Lead the way to where my sister is.
Well, describe it to us.
So I've actually been considering where exactly it is that she would be before. I hadn't completely decided, but you said basement. I'm totally okay with
That's the
that.
last thing I heard you say, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's a fair place for her. Somewhere close and safe. So I lead the way down into the basement of Donovan's. It's fairly empty. There's not really much in there other than a few spare barrels and equipment and anything like that. It's not used to store anything at all, really. It's not much more than a large closet-sized space. But inside there is the ghost of my sister Lyra. Still just around 15, 17, around that age.
Okay, I'm gonna step out of this real quick and ask a question about this. Is this where she died?
No.
Or is there something she's attached to physically that keeps her here?
See,
you don't have to have a definitive answer. I'm looking for things to help set the scene so that for what Hocus is going to see, because he's either intentionally or unintentionally going to get some read off of this situation through the ghost field.
Yeah. I hadn't considered that. I would say, no, it's definitely not where she died. She died from gang violence somewhere in Crow's Foot.
Okay.
Crow's Foot.
But I'd say there could be something of hers that ties her to this place, possession of some kind. One of the few maybe nice things that she owned, perhaps a gift from me. Necklace, or perhaps.
Okay. One other question, and then I'll let you guys jump back into this. Is she completely coherent? Is she, somebody? I mean, she's probably not one of the reconciled. And for clarification of what the reconciled are spirits who no longer hunger for, life force or life essence. They've figured out a way to just exist without adversely affecting those that are living. Your vice is directly tied to your sister, and that's where she's not, because she's not reconciled, she's probably getting some benefit of that directly from you as based on your vice.
Right.
But the question is she an echo? Is she replaying events, or is she actually is she cognitive of what's going on? Is there independent thought there?
There's a little bit of independent thought. She's mostly an echo. If I don't talk to her for a long enough time, then she becomes more and more of an echo, where she is just calling out for my name, repeating the last moments of her death, and things like that. If I talk to her for long enough, if she's called out my name and I answer, if I go to her, then she calms down a bit, and I'm able to kind of talk with her. She won't fully she can't understand the fact that she is dead. She can't understand the fact that I am older and that I am maybe doing other things now. I can try to talk to her, and how much she understands may vary.
Okay.
But generally speaking, it's mostly any conversation I have with her kind of goes back to the last moments of her death, and her asking me for help still.
Okay. All right, I'm going to let you guys drop back into this.
Not entirely certain where to go with this, so I'll kick off with this. So, how long has she been down here?
Long enough. Been 20 years.
Knowing that she is your sister, there is something that I would warn you of. I myself have a rather bad history with some things in the spirit world, and I don't like to look at it very often. I do it when I have to, but I don't, like several of my fellow whispers, I don't hold seances, for example. I don't. If I'm upstairs where we normally are, and I open myself to the spirit world at large, there are multiple layers to it. Imagine being in the middle of an onion and working your way out layer by layer. With the first one, you can see the rooms around you and any ghosts that are nearby and whatnot, and they move. But as you continue to move outward, the inner layers sort of peel away, and you can see things which are beyond that. Eventually, you get out to the point that all you see is the glow of the lightning shield, and you can't see beyond it very easily, not without pushing through it or if you're in close proximity, whatever. The point is, if I'm standing on the first floor or outside this building and I open up far enough, I can see the glow from this basement. I can see that there is something down here. And I didn't look until Jot and Tittle delivered that message, and I started hearing your sister screaming your name, trying to get your attention. But I will tell you now, if you, as heartless as this sounds, I don't mean it that way, but I'm trying to be as succinct as possible. If you still have any love for her, you need to find a way to do something about this, because I promise you, if a spirit warden walks past this building and they start looking into the ghost field, they will also see this. And an unreconciled spirit, whether they're meandering or sitting quietly in a basement simply screaming someone's name, they are going to try to destroy it. And I don't think you want your sister powering the lamps.
We've done just fine so far. Do not overstep your bounds, Hocus. This is my sister, okay? I don't talk about her much, but she is my sister, and she calls out my name, and I am the only one who can help her and the only reason that she is still here. And you want me to get rid of her?
No, sir.
Then what is it you do want? Because I'm failing to see the point.
All right. When you and I first met, you asked if I knew anything about spirits and whatnot. Why did you ask? Was it this?
Because I was going to offer you a ghost contract. I wanted to see how much you knew. Don't bring her into this. This isn't about that. This isn't about you. This isn't about our deal.
With all due respect, I didn't bring her into this. She brought me into this. Now, if you want me to leave well enough alone, very well, I will. However, my offer is not to help you find a way to get rid of her. Not at all. My offer is to help you find a way to reconcile her so that she can remain. And none of the spirit wardens will touch her. That is what I offer, sir, not disposal.
You want to reconcile her?
I want to help you find a way to reconcile her. I don't think that I can do it. I'm not trained in such things. But I will do what I can to help you if you want.
Those are just rumors. That's not...
Do you know what Jot and Tittle said the title of that particular piece we were just looking at is called? They said they titled it Doskvol's Hope. So, that is what I offer. Rumors? Fine, whatever. At least there is some hope. But, as you say, if you want, I'll leave it alone, and you can deal with the consequences as they come.
No. No. No one else hears about this, all right? I want you... If you believe that there is something that can be done, I want you to seek it out. I want you to find someone who can do this, if it exists. You don't tell them about me. You don't tell them about her. All you say is you want to know someone who can reconcile. I don't want to hear about this again. Not unless you find anything. The rest of the crew doesn't know either.
I'm going to do this for you because I want to help. And I give you my word, not this word. Not because of any contract you have me bound to. I'm going to do this because I want to help you. And you have my word of honor that I will keep it quiet. If there's nothing else.
You give me too much hope. Go on. Back to your career job. Whatever it is.
Very well. Well,
I have two questions before this scene ends. Well, I mean, I was actually going to interject in the middle, but I was muted, and you guys were continuing. It was amazing.
Oh.
So I just no, it's all good. It's all good. I have two questions. Number one, what precautions, Guy, would you have taken to make sure that she's safe in this location? I mean, because the way you described it, this room is not used for anything else but her residence.
Right.
So it sounds like you would have taken some level of precaution and potentially either eliminated the person so that they wouldn't talk or whatever. I'm not judging. This is Doskvol. You do what you got to do to survive. But what precautions would you have taken to kind of provide a space for her?
Well, I mean, in terms of the space there, I imagine that it was, in fact, already there for Donovan's. Probably used as additional storage or something like that. I decided I didn't want any of that down there. I just wanted it to be for her. And for that reason, there's a locked door that no one has a key to but me, and no one has ever seen anyone walk down. I don't even go down there when anyone else is around. that is about as much precautions as I've taken. If anyone has ever come sniffing for someone, for a spirit below, I would have dealt with them as quietly as possible and made sure that no one else knows.
Okay. Second thing, has she ever witnessed you? One, I guess this is a two-part question. Has the ghost ever witnessed you communicate with anybody else? For example, has anybody else seen an interaction like that between you and Hocus? And then the second half of that is the extension of it. How would she react to you getting angry?
I would say she probably has never seen me interact with another person before. It's unlikely. Other than the transporting, trying to bring her spirit to that basement, it's possible. I might have had to deal with some people along the way. But other than that, since she's been down there, I've never brought anyone else down. In terms of how she would react to me getting angry, I don't know. I would say, in general, she's still just an echo, and if she was crying out for my name before, she's doing it louder.
Okay.
That's about as far as I would go.
Okay. So to me, what that sounds like then is, as you dismiss Hocus, you go back and spend time with her as you see that she's having issues. She's conflicted. She was screaming before, and now that's probably even more emotionally so. And while it's not a vice thing, you would definitely be spending some time with her.
Yes.
So we're going to cut back to upstairs as Hocus is kind of making his way back up the stairs and finding Sling probably nowhere to be seen because she extracted herself from that situation, and Ari is just kind of loitering and probably paying attention to the exchange in that conversation, although I'm not going to put. But Grin is just kind of sitting there because you all had come back together at one point to go off and do that little viewing, and you would come back to Donovan's, and there's a knock at the door, and Grin steps up, kind of looks around, giving everybody the look of, are you expecting anybody? When there's a shake of the head, no. Grin, you walk to the door, open it up, and you see a blue coat standing in front of you.
Oh, crap.
With the question, would you happen to know the whereabouts of a gentleman by the name of Moon? And that's where we're going to end it.
I love it. I love the cliffhangers. Oh my god. Oh god. Yes.
That's
so
I want you guys to
good.
know that's the first cliffhanger I've been able to work into this. So good job.
Wow.
And we finished on time today. It's all
Yay!
going together.
So
A
proud.
lot of
of us.
downtime, guys. A lot of downtime stuff.
It was
a lot of
entirely
story.
downtime and free play.
Yeah.
We finished on time
that-
because we didn't do a score.
But that
No,
was
but-
awesome. That
But
was
there was a
awesome.
lot of
It was
story
so
built
good.
out of you guys. You
There's
guys
so
did
much has
amazing.
happened today. There's so
Uh-huh.
much.
Right. This was an
Ugh.
intense episode.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
A lot of character development and background.
a lot of
Mhm.
mistakes made. A lot of
Mm.
A lot
decisions
of
made.
mistakes and
A lot of
made,
conversations to think about.
Yeah. That was great. And we got $325 for Jaw.
Sweet.
yeah.
That means we raised more money than Mike did, which is the greatest victory. of
And that's the real win.
That is.
We raised more than money.
Burn.
We wanted to show that we loved Joff more than he did.
Yeah.
think
Step
we
it up,
proved
Mike.
tonight.
Do you even care? No,
Come
seriously.
on.
It's
I-
awesome
can
that
I-
we were able to raise.
Can I
this much
just
money. Yes.
can I just say
please.
I am absolutely blown away by the love, kindness, friendship, and generosity that I've seen in the last 2 days. And I knew it was there, and I've experienced it before, but I'm just in awe of everyone that stepped up in any way. And the donations are phenomenal. but so many people that have reached out and sent me messages of love and camaraderie and the Twitch community and over on Twitter, the Critters, Team Human, Thumpers, the Ringers, and the Quest Army. You know, communities that I was major part of, 2-3 years ago, and it absolutely boggles the mind. So I really want to, I just thank you. I will find a way to pay this forward. And if any of you ever need anything, you just summon me and I will come running. Thank you. Speedy, thank you for inviting me to be part of this game. Johnny, thank you for being one kick-ass GM. This game it blows my freaking mind. I'm so proud and happy to be part of this game and to have met all of you. And I'm looking at chat and the people that are just not just rallying behind me, but rallying behind this show. And that's it. I have a tendency to waffle. I'm done. Thank you.
But waffles are delicious.
They are.
You deserve a waffle for all that you've done for us. And also at least $325.
And 325 waffles.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of waffles.
Exactly. With a goat on the side, that's on drugs.
I did donate for goats, and we had no goats, and I'm very sad.
I am working on it, but there were so many good things that happened. I couldn't work in, the undead evil thing that Mike wanted us to do, and the thing that Lisa wants us to do, and your goats. I will promise next week I will make it all work. I promise. I promise. Let's real quickly do XP and get that over with, so we can all get out of here since we're close to on time, anyways. Just so that's all done. Speedy, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I didn't do any desperate actions. I addressed the challenge with calculation or conspiracy. I would say I probably did that during my first downtime action when I was deciding on calculating or talking with the Red Sashes about the Dimmer Sisters and that job. I might also say that when I was talking with Sling, trying to convince her to make a new deal with me, that might count as well.
As a playbook specific trigger?
Yeah, addressing a challenge.
Absolutely.
Calculation, yeah.
Absolutely.
Expressing, I would also say that Strive's heritage or background. That was a big thing with my sister, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then struggled with issues from your vice. That's also my sister. So
this is, even though you didn't actually roll for vice, this is definitely the first time that's come up. So absolutely.
Yeah.
So go ahead and take 4 XP for that.
It'd be 5 if I'm counting right. Would it be? Did I count right?
So you okay? So so you said the playbook 4 specific XP triggers. There was the negotiation or the talk with the Red Sashes and the negotiation with the questionable negotiation with Sling, right? Mm-hmm. So that could also apply in the beliefs and drives and heritage, but it's the kind of case where it's one where it's going to apply in either one place or the other, not both. So
4. Cool.
So you got 4. Excellent. Cool. So you can mark those anywhere on your character sheet, either in the Insight, Resolve, Prowess, or on your miscellaneous area. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go with Let's go with Hocus next. So you definitely did not do any desperate actions.
No.
Playbook specific triggers.
A few things with knowledge and arcane power. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if we want to count all of the ghost interactions as one, or if the kids with the art was one and everything with the sister was the second one.
Definitely, they're 2 separate events.
Okay, then that's 2.
Yeah, to my mind, there are 2 separate events because your downtime action in our story directly related to what the kids wanted to show and the sister event was a free play situation between you and Sky that there was interrupting there.
Okay. Then belief, strives, heritage, or background. I did touch briefly on the fact that I have issues because of my past with the spirit realm and blah, blah, blah. So that would be one.
Okay.
And struggle with issues of vice or trauma. I mean, it is
the ghost talking to you.
It is uncomfortable for Hocus to have to deal with that.
Okay.
I guess would partly be trauma. But,
Okay.
But not trauma like on the score sheet.
Okay.
So I don't know if we're going to count that or not.
So let's call it. Let's go ahead and count that. Let's call it 4.
Okay, then 4.
Okay.
Which, that's 4 in my either inside prowess or resolve, or does that go into playbook advancement?
Either or, it's your choice, because so the only one that counts specifically towards one of those 3, insight, prowess, or resolve, are when it comes to you taking action that involves a desperate position.
Okay.
So that's
if I've got 4, that means I'm going to fill up my bar and have 1 left over.
Well, you can spread them wherever you want. You can spread them into insight or resolve or prowess, or you can throw them in the bar and then take an advancement from there and then drop it wherever else. So that's entirely up to you. Let's work on that off screen since we're running over.
Yeah. Go.
Okay. So how about Ari? Let's go next. You're muted.
I was about to say. So I think today, most of what Ari used was her sway when it came to pushing the heat onto Team Shroud. Everything else was kind of within her usual jurisdiction.
Okay, so but is that a playbook specific trigger for the Team Shroud thing? Because you definitely took an action there. And you also declared that it fell within slide, like the whole purveyance of your playbook. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like so new to this.
Okay. Oh, that's perfectly fine. Does anybody else at the table have any insight? I think that definitely applies to a playbook specific trigger.
I would agree.
Agreed.
And so
it also helps her catch up with us because she said she was effectively a day behind.
Yeah, I mean the playbook specific is tries to challenge with deception or influence, and you definitely did that. So,
so just for your reference, Ari, on your character sheet, all the way towards the bottom where it says Mark XP. It gives you some general guidelines about the information that you're looking for. So every time you roll a desperate action, it's listed there, and then there's a bunch of stuff that are specific to the playbook that apply there, right? So do you challenge with deception or influence, as Speedy was saying? Yes, absolutely, you did do that.
Yeah.
You basically eliminated the heat and essentially use that. So that's 1. And then express your drives, beliefs, heritage, or background. Given what you said about your past and how we tied it to OC, I think that definitely applies as another XP there. And also your drive, because you spoke up and jumped into the conversation between Sling and Grin, I think that you definitely deserve another XP. So that's multiple uses of your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. All right, sweet.
Cool.
And then, did you mark your XP from last week? Because you got 3 or 4 from last week. I'll double check my notes. But just FYI, you've got more XP coming to you, so that you should need to mark on there.
Okay, I think I had 2 from last week.
Okay,
if I remember correctly.
Well, like I said, I'll double check with you offline. We'll finish that up and do that. Okay, great. So awesome. Let's move on to Grid.
Okay. I'm not sure I got that much this week. I've lost my 1 second. No violence. Again, 2 weeks in a row, I didn't get to hurt anyone.
Such a pacifistic soldier.
I know.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
But speaking of soldier, I delved a little into Grin's background, his heritage, his military career. So there was that.
Absolutely.
And there was. It's clear that Grin is an alcoholic. You know, I keep putting that out there. I don't know if that deserves an XP or not, but it was out there.
Well, so what is your specific vice that you chose?
He is a drunk.
Okay, so because you keep highlighting that I think that's dealing with that.
Okay.
That issue of vice or trauma.
Okay, that puts me at 2 XP. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. You know, if anybody else at the table can think of anything, this is another time to kind of speak up and help folks remember events that happen.
His real big scene this week was with Ari and Sling at the Devil's Tooth.
Yeah.
That was a quiet week for Grin because of my distractions.
There was a little bit of like, I guess, heritage or background there because Sling was going to him because of his dealings in the background and past and the things that he knew were because of that.
And the acquisition of the lieutenant, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was leveraging my heritage to gain an asset.
Yes, absolutely.
There you
go. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
So that's 3.
That's 3.
Excellent. All right, and last but not least, Sling.
Hello. Okay, so I didn't do any desperate actions. I don't think I did address a challenge of tracking or violence because I haven't really done much of that today. In terms of expressing beliefs, drives, heritage, or background, I feel like there's a possibility for firstly for checking up again with my friends back home and not wanting to name them, knowing that they're the ones causing the trouble.
Okay, so that's one.
Not wanting to get into trouble. And then I don't know if it counts or not, but one of the reasons that she is taking so strongly to wanting to get Sky to stop doing what it is that he's doing is that when she was in Chicharos and she was like in this kind of like street urchin kind of mismatched little gang thing, people like Sky were the people that were the ones keeping them down and that they wanted to stop. And now that she's here working for one and finding out
smile.
that her friends and the guy that she was sort of with are alive and are being violent, she's feeling very bad about everything. She's wanting to try and put things right, and stick to what she wants to do, and like kind of, and that would be stopping people like that.
That's definitely a second XP right there for that specifically for the beliefs, drives, and heritage because. I was going to ask you about whether that applied, and you already jumped in and explained that. So that's awesome. Mm-hmm. I also think that you getting onto the dealing with issues of vice or trauma. I think you definitely did that, especially in the conflict or the engagement with Sky during free play. So
that puts me to 1 over the playbook advancement. What does that mean?
So if you take all of that and you put it in playbook advancement, what that means is you can acquire a new special ability. If you take any of that XP and throw it into your, any of your 3 resolve, insight, or prowess, then if you fill out those, then what you do is you get to throw a new pip on the board somewhere.
Okay. I'll do that off camera. So I need to have a look.
Yeah, we can talk about that off camera. We can talk about, maybe any questions anybody has about XP, we can definitely talk about off camera. So, and with that, cliffhanger and turning it back over to Speedy.
Yes, excellent. That was a fantastic cliffhanger. What is going to happen? Moon is not. He won't leave us alone, even if he's a ghost. Even if it's just the police looking for him, he is not going away anytime soon. I have to make sure that I tell Lunacy about this. But yeah, thank you guys so much. All of you guys have been awesome. Let's go around the crew one more time. You guys can say a little bit about who you are and shout yourselves out where we can find you and stuff like that. Let's start with our wonderful DM today, VideoStoreCowboy.
I'm going to do exactly what I did last night. I'm going to just say that my name is Johnny. Video Store Cowboy channel on Twitch. And instead, I will, of plugging myself anymore, I just want to say thank you again to everybody who donated tonight and donated last night and donated to Joff's GoFundMe. 325 tonight, 300 last night, over 2,000 the last time I took a look. You guys are amazing. It's really awesome. So I just want to highlight that and thank all the viewers, all the donators, everybody who got the word out. It's been amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been incredible. Let's keep going around Trendane.
In exchange for all of this profound kindness, I would very much like to see Joff do his hair up in a tartan pattern somehow. Might be a little difficult, but anyway.
Yes.
Not sure if that's what
I second this motion.
That'd probably be like a 3,000.
I third this motion.
But I am Trend Sparks, and you can find me either here or over at Arvan Eleron's Twitch channel, where I do a lot of streaming on the D&D campaign over there. Coming up, since it is now June, oh, by the way, Happy New Month, everybody. We have a new stream that we're going to be doing on Tuesdays. I don't know exactly which day we're starting to do that. I don't know if it's this coming Tuesday or not, but it's going to be Wizards of the no, not Wizards of the Coast, a different group whose name I can't remember right now. They took the D&D 5th edition rules and made it Middle Earth. And so it is basically a Middle Earth role-playing game using D&D 5th edition rules. And we're going to be doing a regular, I think, bi-weekly RPG stream over at Arvan Eleron on that. In addition to the D&D campaign we already do with the Rise of Tiamat over there, and the Our Vocalists voice acting stuff that we do with radio plays and video games and all that other stuff. And then hopefully either tomorrow or next week over on the Escape Pod podcast, they will freaking release the damn thing. My narration of texts from the Ghost War, and we'll see when that comes up. Boom.
Awesome. Yeah. Go follow Trending. Dude, I just want to say your whole, like, everything that you did today, the entire scene with the kids, and like bringing my sister into this, all of it was just like incredible. Like all of the like just storytelling that you did, not just the voice acting, but everything that you came up with on the fly was incredible.
Well, with regards to the sister, that was mostly him feeding it to me through Discord.
Sure.
But your response, because I was looking over here somewhere and over here looking at what he was telling me to say. But when I reached that pause point and you lashed out in anger, I was like, uh-oh. This was not the reaction I was expecting. Oh, what do I do? And I was like, and then right after the uh-oh was like, yeah, come on, let's go. This is awesome. Oh, good on you as well, sir. It was
great. I was very happy to get some of that backstory out there and be able to kind of give Sky like a somewhat vulnerable moment. Because so far he's just been an asshole. No promise he's going to stop anytime soon. But yeah, let's go on to Madame
to this body we lost down here.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'm MadameGandalf. I'm a full-time streamer here on Twitch, and you can catch me about 6 days a week, streaming at least at some point in time. And the other days of the week I teach film or work freelance in film. But I'm just so excited to be part of this group and to be part of a real role-playing community where you can truly get into character, you can voice act, you can just any part of the role-playing experience that you personally find the most invigorating. This has allowed me to be. So I want to first thank you guys all for that, and second to thank you guys for sending some money over to this beautiful bugger with purple hair over here, because I have a couple of donations that need to come in as an extra from to go in over there. And
That's right. It's not over yet.
you thought it was over. Yeah, you see nothing yet. So, yeah, just thank you guys so much. I'm having a shit ton of fun, in case you can't tell.
Yeah, me too. This is so good. I'm going to skip over Owlbare for a second because I want him to go last because I think he might cry.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
And I'll pass things over
Poor
to
guy.
Louise right now.
I'll keep mine short and sweet. I am Louise. You can find me here on Thursdays, on Tuesdays, Encounter Roleplay with Speedster himself at 4 p.m. EST. We have our finale episode coming up next Tuesday. Very exciting. You can also catch me on Twitter at No More No Less, where I tweet things, on my Twitch at AccidentalLegend, where I stream things, but not this week because of bees. But yeah, I can only repeat the sentiments that we've had so far from everybody in this cast, from everybody in the cast yesterday, and from everybody in chat. Like, this is, like, we look after our own. It's been said so many times, but it's becomes more and more true each time it's said. And I'm just really glad that we have this outlet where we can help, where we can all come together as a unity, as a community, and give help to somebody that deserves it, and somebody that is such an amazing person that we can show them just how amazing they are with all of this, with all of everybody. And I'm just grateful to fucking everybody on the planet, really, that this is something that we can do. And with that, I'm gonna pass it to said amazing person himself.
Damn it, Louise. Well, I'm Joff /Grin /Owlbare. You can find me on Twitter. That's Owlbare, BARE. Just picture a naked owlbear.
Oh, I do.
I just donated $25.
I do.
Oh my gosh. XP night, thank you. Oh my god. Everyone, thank you. Yami, I mean, you guys.
They're trying to
as
get you to
well.
cry, man. They're trying to get you to
You guys during the
Bring those
stream
tears.
throwing money. And Mike ran in and threw money, and he also then went over to the actual campaign and threw more money. Mike, seriously, you guys are amazing. I am not a streamer. I want to become one now because of the last 2 days. I love this community. I love what I'm seeing. I want to give back any way I can. I think I can share some content. I think there are people that would watch me create art and play RPGs and whatever else. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, where for some reason I seem to be kind of popular, but I haven't worked out why yet. But I'll keep being me. And yeah, you just, like I say, if any of you need me for anything, a doodle, a graphic, you let me know, and I'll do what I can. That's all I got. I'm trying not to lose it.
Stop it. Lose it right now.
You've been absolutely...
Just lose
It's good for the ratings, right? It's really good for ratings.
You gotta milk it for all we can
Don't
get.
do it for the ratings. I'm doing it because you deserved everything.
I'm doing it because you guys are awesome and you make me cry.
You're welcome.
Joff, you've been absolutely incredible to this community, this family. I don't like using the word like community much because I think of all the people who watch this as like friends and family, and you guys really do mean a hell of a lot to me. And you know, Joff, you've been helping us out so much without ever being asked, without any real prompting. You've just done so much for us, and you know, doing anything to give back to you is, you know, it's nothing. This community is, you know, they're generous, they're kind, and I've tried to build up, you know, that kind of family who really does care about each other. I've every step along the way, I've always said the same thing as you. You know, if you ever have anything you want to talk to me about, if you ever need help with anything, I am there. And I know that you are a fantastic, amazing person for saying the same thing, and for just everything you've done. And I know that even though you may offer it, there is no thanks that you need to give. There's nothing you need to do. You don't need to be making graphics or art for any of these things. This is not being paid for a service. This is money being given to you because you deserve it for being the person that you are, and because you have gone through enough already, and you deserve so much kindness and love, okay?
Curse you, Speedy.
That's just me battering it down, trying to make you cry. No, I really mean it. I mean every single
Speedy.
word.
I know you do, and thank you again, Speedy. You reached out to me to invite me to the game, and I'm still not quite sure why. Maybe you'll tell me sometime. I'm just really proud to know you guys, and I've been interacting more and more with the other crew, and I'm just loving it, and I'm so grateful. And I'll find a way to pay it forward. I will.
Absolutely, and just thank you so much for all that you've done and continue to do.
It's fun. I love making the graphics. I adore the graphics. I'll keep making them. I still owe a few bios, including yours, Speedy.
I know. I need to send that to you at some point. But you've been incredible. So, thank you. Thank you. No, don't you thank me. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
God damn it!
This is how Canadians fight.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Like.
But yeah, that is all we have for today. I'm going to send you guys on a raid, and we're gonna go ahead and raid someone who is awesome and deserves as much love as we have been sharing tonight, and we're gonna go send that over to the great Haley. She's a cast member on our Monday game of D&D, and she's had some rough times lately as well. She's taken a personal day before, and so I really want to go send her some love as well. So we're gonna go send her a raid. The link is there. I've changed the raid call. It's now NotSoSpeed Raid, keeping things short. So go ahead. We're gonna go over there, spam the hell out of her, show her love. Thank you guys so much for all of the kindness and generosity that you've shared with us and with Joff, and just for being great people. Those of you who didn't donate, thank you for just being here, for helping all of this be possible. I know that everyone here does care a good deal about you and everyone. So thank you all for that. Go ahead and copy and paste that thing. We're gonna go send her a raid. Thank you guys so much. I will see you next time, and as always, don't forget to take it slow. Bye.